Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? JV Wins and Dogon SS are here once again to kick the tires and light the fires on another edition
You,
to the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And thanks to everybody who's been joining along with us. We certainly appreciate it.
yeah,
We've
you.
been getting a lot of new subscribers and a lot more engagement on the videos, man. So we really do enjoy getting the feedback on the content that we put out on this channel. We certainly appreciate you. And for anybody who has not already done so, if this is the first time you have watched any of our content, if this is the first video you've ever seen, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man, because this is pretty much what we do each and every week and each and every upload, 7 days out of the week. So thanks to everybody who has joined us, and thanks in advance to anybody who will be joining us in the future. So with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off. First, we are going to talk about Megan Thee Stallion performing at a recent rally for Kamala Harris, who is the presumptive Democratic nominee for president. And of course, this has started an ongoing dialogue about culture and race and politics and all of that good stuff, which is just automatic fodder for this channel, of course. This is going to be an ongoing thing, I feel. This is the third week in a row that we have done a Kamala related topic, but it just has so many legs and layers. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. And I gotta give my partner Dogon SS a whole lot of credit here. Quite prophetic. I think when we initially talked about Kamala Harris and Candace Owens back on July 27th, anybody go and check that video out. It was an upload that we posted to the channel on July the 27th, talking about comments made by Candace Owens in reference to Kamala Harris. Dogon SS during that video predicted that Megan Thee Stallion was going to show up. Now, where he was inaccurate is he said that it would be at the DNC.
Right.
It wasn't at the DNC, but nonetheless, Megan Thee Stallion did pop up at a Kamala Harris rally 3 days after we posted that video. 3 days later. So we posted that video to the channel on July 27th. Kamala Harris had a rally in Atlanta on July the 30th. And who was there but none other than the queen of twerking herself, Megan Thee Stallion. And this is going to be the first video that we talk about during our stream tonight, because there's been a lot of people who have voiced their opinions on that performance. Dogon also said that Megan Thee Stallion was going to be up on stage twerking up a storm, and that is precisely what she did. She proceeded at this event to twerk up a storm as she endorsed Kamala Harris through her performance. And, you know, like all things out here in this world, some people were with it and some people did not like it. So we are going to talk about how we feel about this particular situation here. So for a little context, this says Megan Thee Stallion stands by Kamala Harris rally before Kamala Harris rally performance amid outrage. Earlier this week, Megan Thee Stallion took the stage at Kamala Harris's rally in Atlanta, showing her support for the current vice president in this year's election. She performed a mashup of some of her biggest hits like Body, Mamushi, and more. She also launched her Hotties for Harris campaign, designed to encourage young fans to vote. Unfortunately, however, not everyone was a fan of the show. Megan's performance quickly went viral as social media users slammed her for her performance. Many took issues with her twerking on stage in particular, arguing that it was inappropriate for the occasion. Luckily, it doesn't look like the FemC was fazed by the backlash, which she addressed at Lollapalooza yesterday. And for the purposes of accuracy, this article was posted on August the 2nd. So these comments that we are about to get into from her is from August the 1st. So where did I leave off there? Here it is. So in a clip from her set, Meg doubled down, making it clear that she doesn't plan to change her ways for critics. They was big mad that I was popping it for Kamala, she began before reaffirming her support for Harris. Hotties for Harris, goddammit. During her set, Meg also highlighted Harris's stance on various key issues, including women's rights. This echoes what she said on stage at the Atlanta rally when she emphasized Harris's take on Roe versus Wade. Now, I know my ladies in the crowd love their bodies. She said, if you want to keep loving your bodies, you know who to vote for. The hit maker has long been a vocal advocate for reproductive health care, even accepting the 2024 Catalyst for Change Award at Planned Parenthood's annual gala in April. So let's go ahead and play the audio here. Now, be forewarned, the quality of the audio is not very good. I'm guessing this was someone who was in attendance at the show recording video with their phone. This isn't like an official media video. So this was sort of screen caption and it went viral on the internet. You're probably not going to be able to make out everything that she said, but you can also read the caption down there. And those quotes that I read a couple of minutes ago pretty much crystallizes what she's saying here in this clip.
Mm-mm-mm. Of course.
All right. Does it continue? Does it go on? No, that's it. Okay. And for anybody who did not see the initial deal, here is this.
Yeah, the secondhand embarrassment, bro. It doesn't stop anytime I see this.
All right. So she's doubled down, so you're not going to smoke her out of her hole. She's saying, I don't care about people who are mad about me twerking. Uh, Hotties for Harris. If you want to continue to love your bodies, you know who to vote for. Uh, remember what Kamala said, ceasefire, Roe v. Wade, all of this other stuff, before continuing to do what she does best. So, what do you make of Megan Thee Stallion doubling down on the haters who have something to say about her performance at the rally?
Not surprised here. Not surprised at all. I mean, I saw some stuff out there where people didn't even want to blame, or not blame, but get at Megan for doing this. But I'm pretty sure after hearing her doubling down and saying, Hotties for Harris, damn it, I think that in itself should be enough to, hold her feet to the fire too. But again, we're dealing with Megan Thee Stallion here. That's no different than dealing with a Young Thug or any other, knucklehead male rapper. So she's just the female version of knucklehead rap, and she doesn't see anything wrong with, embarrassing her people. I laughed at it, bro. And after last week's recording, man, we were just joking around, bro, and just, like, man, like, just I heard Megan's going to be at Kamala's thing, she's going to be out there acting a fool, and sure enough, she was. And I saw the clip. When I first saw the clip, I was like, okay, well, that's a nice outfit. That it's Megan Thee Stallion, but it's buttoned up. So I was like, all right, maybe she gonna prove me wrong. Maybe she ain't gonna bust it wide open. But when she said that, they mad because she was popping it. Popping what? Popping that box. And so that in itself to me is disgraceful and shameful. Now, we could get into what Trump and them did, having Hulk Hogan do the Republican version of a striptease, where Hulk Hogan was ripping his shirt like it was WWF in the 90s. That's also a form of pandering, but just for the Republican side. They also had Amber Rose, but Amber Rose wasn't busting wide open, but they still did the low hanging fruit thing at the Republican convention. But this one here, uh, it to me, even though it was low hanging fruit, I think it went a little lower. And to me, it was like I said, secondhand embarrassment. I didn't care for it at all. And the biggest part about it that I didn't care for was her message before she started twerking. And it was the reproductive stuff. Now, to each their own, y'all go do what y'all want when it comes to reproductive, whatever they're calling this stuff nowadays. But when they said the Planned Parenthood and all this other stuff, I mean, guys, I feel like as though if you're watching the conscious approach, you're very well aware of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, and the agenda behind that. So, again, to each their own. But once you're looking at the overall attack on our community, I think the Planned Parenthood attack is very live and well. And for Megan to get up there and promote that as her, the main catch-all, it seems as though they're not really worried about men. I think they've turned to completely rainbow hair people and women. And I think that that's their angle. At least that's what it comes off so far. But yeah, I'm not buying Boule Harris, and I'm not buying Thought Box the Stallion. But what are your thoughts on Megan Thee Stallion doubling down, saying that they just big mad or fake mad that she was popping it for votes? You down with this?
She to me is whatever. In my opinion, the focus of this is not with the fact that she was there, but with the fact that she was asked to be there. And so, who asked her to be there? That to me is the main impetus of this for me. And for the record, I think you and I'll speak for myself, but I think I can also say this on your behalf as well. I think we, over the course of the last several weeks, that we've started to talk a little bit more about political stuff. We've done as best a job as we can to make it clear that all sides of this situation are completely engulfed in absolute insanity.
Yes.
We're not sitting here chastising the blue side in sort of reverence to the red side, nor are we sitting here chastising the red side in deference to the blue side. We have been saying from the get-go that this entire thing is a shark show.
Yeah.
So you can bring up Hulk Hogan, and I hear your point, but we never try to suggest that because one side is above board, that the other side needs to do the same thing. They're both slinging mud as far as we're concerned. And the that Hulk Hogan stuff is low-hanging fruit on that side, and that particular side is already indoctrinated in its own sort of manifest destiny type situation. And so what we see happening on the other side is the same thing, where there's an indoctrination, in my opinion, that is in effect, that is at work. I'm at the point where I've become completely exasperated with this kind of conversation, mainly from the standpoint that you're going to have people who don't. People are just going to do whatever. They're going to defend it. They're going to say it's good or bad, or people are going to be indifferent towards it. It is what it is. My point with this entire situation is, if you insist on trying to appeal to a certain demographic by bringing on people like Megan Thee Stallion, then you owe it to your audience and the people whom you're trying to attract to be a little bit more balanced in terms of the presentation of the people who you lend a voice to. So I feel like if you're going to bring Megan Thee Stallion onto the stage, then you need to offset her with people like, I don't know, Robert Smith. I'm just thinking of a name off the top of my head. Robert Smith is a black guy who's a billionaire, who is like a venture capitalist. He's very well known in terms of being like a black entrepreneur. And he does a lot of square business, and he does big things. And he's out here and he's a black billionaire, and he didn't get his money playing basketball or football or rapping, right? Or acting in movies. He does business. So if you want to have Megan Thee Stallion out there doing her thing twerking, then bring on a guy like him to offset it, to provide more of a balanced perspective in terms of the presentation of your ideals from a pop culture standpoint, or
Mhm.
rather from a non-political standpoint. Or if you wanted to be all about pop culture, then offset Megan Thee Stallion with somebody like Killer Mike, who is actively involved with his community and actually knows about politics and can speak
Yeah.
intelligently about it,
Yeah.
and who's an alderman who actually knows these things and doesn't
Mhm.
just say ridiculous, clickbaity, insightful, insane things like defund the police. So offset her with people like him so that you can provide a rich enough tapestry for people to gain a balanced understanding of where you're coming from in terms of why people should be paying attention to you. But we don't get Megan Thee Stallion and a Robert Smith or Killer Mike, or even somebody like Nas for that matter. If you want to stick to this hip hop thing, just go get somebody who knows what they're talking about and makes sense.
Mhm.
But you don't do that. Instead you go and get Megan Thee Stallion, and then you offset Megan Thee Stallion with Quavo. Now,
Oh, I forgot about Quavo.
yeah, now Quavo was there, and look, I'm not trying to, I'm not here to, I'm not, I don't want to continue to further exacerbate this conversation by leaning into Quavo, and by all accounts, he was changed when Offset got killed. So apparently, he went from being Migos Quavo, where as far as I know, every other song it was talking about banging and disrespecting women and being violent and running around in the streets doing crime. That was what I heard a lot from the Migos. Now the beats used to be great and all of that kind of stuff, but the content of the lyrics in their songs was pretty consistent throughout.
Mhm.
And apparently he's now a changed guy because of this Offset situation. And so he's now on the beaten path trying to advocate for gun control or gun regulation or anti-gun violence or whatever it is that he's doing. But in my opinion, one year period doesn't offset almost a decade's worth of what you were doing prior to that point. And he still puts out songs where he's engaging in foolishness. If you
Mhm.
listen to the latest Migos slash Quavo and take and all, did I say Offset got killed? I meant Takeoff. If I
Yeah,
said
yeah, I know
Offset,
what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah. If I said Offset, correction, I meant Takeoff. I just
yeah,
called
take off.
myself.
All
Takeoff
right.
got killed. Yeah. So if you listen to any of the latest, Offset slash Quavo, apparently they're not doing stuff together anymore or whatever the case is. But if you listen to any of their latest music, it's pretty much on the same shenanigans, even though he'll get off that and go to a rally to talk about anti-gun violence. So for me, I experienced cognitive dissonance with that kind of stuff. It's
Mhm. Mhm.
um very who's that we talked about who engages in that kind of double talk, and it's just confusing. Very
Me?
Meek Mill. Very Meek Mill, yeah. It's very Meek Mill esque. But be
Yeah.
that as it may, you offset Megan Thee Stallion, no pun intended, with Quavo.
Mm.
And I'm just like, this is what these people think of you. And
Yes.
so I don't really care about Megan Thee Stallion because she's an agent and she played her part like an actor in a movie.
Mhm.
There's a script. They write a
Mhm.
script for people like her. They
Mhm.
pay her money. She shows up and does her thing. No different than an actor playing a role in a movie. You're paid, you act in the movie, you do promo for the movie, and you go home. And
Mhm.
that's what Megan Thee Stallion did. They had a script for her. The script is who she is as an artist. She played the script out eloquently, did her thing. She was paid. Don't think that these people do this stuff for free, people. They're getting paid for this.
Mhm.
She was paid for her appearance, her performance. She goes about her business and she continues to make money pushing the same thought pocket rap. But to the people to whom this message is supposed to be directed towards, which I would say is mostly black people, but black and brown people and otherwise disenfranchised people, this is what these people think of you. And I just think people need to start demanding a little more accountability instead of just accepting it as this is what Kamala Harris needs to do in order to reach the community. Well, why is that? Who came up with these ridiculous rules? Like, who came up with this nonsense? Who came up with this? Somebody give me. Well, I know the history. I'm being facetious, but
Right. Right.
somebody explain to me who came up with that. Who came up with that? So, I mean, I just think people need to understand what is taking place when these sorts of guerrilla marketing tactics are played before you in order to elicit a particular kind of action. It's not for the welfare of your personal well-being. It's about inciting a particular sensibility within you just to get you to walk out to a middle school and go fill out a ballot box for a person who otherwise may not have your best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying this to say that the other side is any better. They're doing the same thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
all a bunch of mudslinging.
Yep.
But this is what they think of you. Megan Thee Stallion's performance to me was no different than that no voting, no effing video that we talked about
Yeah,
a couple years ago with Trina and Saucy Santana,
that's right.
where the premise of that song was if you don't vote Democrat, guys, no sex for you.
Yep.
Just the most ultimate low-hanging fruit possibly imaginable. And this was cleared by the DNC.
Yep.
So this is what these people think of you, and people need to think about that. But if we insist on believing in this ridiculous, arbitrary notion that in order to appeal to particular communities, you need to trot out these agents, then I would ask these people who are in charge of making these decisions for a little more accountability. Y'all need to be more balanced. Go and get Killer Mike to talk at your rally if you want to get Megan Thee Stallion. Go and get Nas to talk at your rally if you want to go and get Megan Thee Stallion. Get some of these black entrepreneurs and people in the world of business and technology who are doing real things outside of the parameters of some of this low-hanging fruit when it comes to how society largely still to this day perceives people in these neighborhoods. Go and get them to speak at your rally to offset whatever energy or lack thereof Megan Thee Stallion and people like Quavo may be bringing to these performances and these rallies. So will that happen? Probably not. I cynically believe that we are thoroughly in the throes of this dynamic where the conventional wisdom is bring on Megan Thee Stallion in order to get these people's attention. And I wouldn't be shocked if at the actual DNC we do see people like Ice Spice, who we are going to talk about a little later, or Lil Baby, or any of these other agents of chaos that we currently uphold as cultural signifiers for our people.
No, hey, 1,000, bro. And yeah, that was gonna be my next point. Was just talking about how they view black people in America. And but this has been, and I know you were being posing a rhetorical question there, but this has been going on since the 60s at least. And I can just point to the 60s because Malcolm X was talking about it in the 60s, and he was talking about Lena Horne and Dick Gregory, comedians and actresses and stuff like that, entertainers being the spokesperson for black people. And this has been a thing that's been going on for liberals for a very long time, at least 60 years. So this is part of the liberal handbook. They don't even think about black people anymore. They just check off the box and they say, all right, we got to get some black people going. What city should we hit? Let's hit Atlanta. All right, we got to sway some black people. Who should we get? Let's get Megan Thee Stallion. But more important, to touch on my first point, they really seem to be leaning into black women. I think that's what they're going at. That's where they're and whatever black male is that's still caught up in the lesser of two evils situation. But they're really the Megan Thee Stallion, the women's rights, the reproductive rights, and all that other stuff. They're clearly targeting black women with this, and the liberal machine, it always poses as an ally towards air quote minorities, and they always make it seem as though they're going to look out for them. But in actuality, whenever these people get into office, they just seem to forget and just keep on rolling business as usual. And, as a young person, me, being not old enough to vote for Clinton and Bush and all that other stuff, but I'm sitting there watching it, people around me talking, people in school are talking about it. Even, back then, elementary school, teachers were talking about it. So the only thing that was getting bombarded to me was black people vote Democratic, period.
Yeah.
That's it. And if they're a Republican, they're a sellout Negro. And you should watch them because they're not to be trusted. That's all I was given. And so from there, it was, if somebody was Republican, they were a rich arsehole, and they weren't somebody I need to be associated with. But as I got older and I'm starting to pay attention to politics myself and starting to form my own opinion about things, I'm seeing how black people are getting played by the Democratic Party and air quote liberals. And one thing that goes on with liberalism in the United States is to me, it's such a joke, because they parade around in the sense that they're out here looking out for people and world peace and everybody's everybody, kumbaya hipster stuff. But whenever I hear these people talk, they're always still talking with an American mindset, meaning they still want everything that they want. They still want everything for cheap. They still want everything the way it is, basically, just socially better. But my problem with that is, and it's always been with liberals since I was old enough to think for myself, was the American privilege is only a privilege due to the imperialism that goes on across the world, which puts people that, we're out here kumbaya, but it puts people in other places of the world in very compromising positions that people would akin to slavery. So there's people digging stuff in mines. There's people doing all kinds of stuff just for us to have these laptops and cell phones. But they only care about American stuff and kumbaya, kumbaya. And so I say all that stuff to say is that the liberal thing is only a feel good situation. But if you really wanted world peace, if you really wanted to change the world, then you would be against imperialism, and you would be more in line with trying to help people for real. But the only thing that I see from liberals is, patty cake, hand claps, rallies, and cheering, marches, and stuff like that. But when it comes down to tangible action, nothing gets done. So to me, it's just a horse and pony show, a theatrical situation. So you're right. Megan Thee Stallion is an actress in this situation. She's playing a role of being a fast woman in America, and that's what we want.
Well, not
Uh,
only that, but the social anarchy inherent in modern liberalism is, embracing being a fast woman means that you're a proponent of women's rights.
yes, for some
It's
reason.
it's this weird psychological play on these various terms that we have just embraced.
Yeah,
And if you don't accept it, then it means you're anti-woman. So of course you wouldn't want to be anti-woman, so you won't accept this, right? I mean, so you won't reject this, right? Therefore, you have to agree. Yeah, you're right. I hear you. I didn't mean to
no,
interject there, but it's that kind of thing that's going on there.
yeah, and last thing I'll say is, as far as Kamala is concerned, because she's also been going on a lot of HBCU tours where she's talking to a lot of boule people, talking to a lot of fraternities and sororities, the elites. So she's making her alliances of who she wants to support her, and it's not the everyday black person. For all these black people out here to say vote for her because she's black, even though that's up for debate right now. But she's going to the elites of black people, so the boule, all right, the air quote talented 10%, the people that are here to uphold all the madness that's going on in our community, with their token jobs and whatever. But they go along to get along, and they do exactly what they're told. Nothing revolutionary about um, sigmas or alphas or whatever. But she wants to go to these HBCUs and talk to them because she's an AKA, so she wants to ski eat with the AKAs and stuff. So she made her alliance with who she wants to vote for her, and that's women, apparently ratchets too. So I'm not saying all women are ratchet, but she wants the ratchets as well, and she wants the influential Negroes. And so this is, to me, uh, it's an insult. I don't know when we've had enough of this. I'm pretty sure millennials I, in particular millennials, uh, the ones right above us, the Gen X, the ones right below us may not see it so much, but I really think like the millennials have seen a good chunk of this stuff happen over time, and I think we should be done with the pandering. So this pander session that went on, again, embarrassing. Um, but at the same time, man, uh, I don't associate enough with this to be fully embarrassed. So, I made fun of this thing, on my TikToks and IGs, man. Make sure you guys follow over there. But yeah, I was making fun of this stuff, but there was still this disappointment that, I still think that there's going to be a large chunk of our people that still buy into some of this
That
trash.
that's the point.
Yeah.
The point isn't about how it resonates with me. The point is I'm just thinking about the impact that does have on how many people. It's the fact that it's effective enough that it's still utilized as a strategy. So it's working. It may not work on individuals like you or myself, but it works nonetheless.
Yeah, man.
All you have to do is just put a post out, put a post out criticizing it, and you'll see they will defend it against you to the death. So
Yeah,
they're out there.
they was in my comment section with it.
Yeah, yeah,
I got retorts for that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I have given up with
Mhm.
calls for a stoppage to this kind of stuff
Yeah, me too.
because it'll never stop.
Correct.
So my whole thing is, okay, I'm willing to compromise on the basis that just balance it with some kind of substance. It's no different than the radio stations that play nothing but prostitution rap and drugs and gun rap all day, and I'm not going to hear a single song when it comes to hip-hop / rap, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's not that. So basically, unless I'm a hardcore fan who's willing to dig into the crates, if I was just a casual, this would be everything that I knew about this form of music, because that's all you give me.
Yep.
And when it comes to politics and trying to appeal to these disenfranchised communities, people don't know no better because that's all you give them, and no one checks them on it, so they don't have to be held accountable. They'll just still continue to trot these agents out there.
Yep.
And it's the state of affairs as we currently know it. So my whole thing is just just put somebody, if you're gonna give me the minstrel show, then at least give me a respite in the midst of the minstrel show. Because I personally would like to hear what a person like David Stewart has to say, or an individual like Tope. I always never know how to say this guy's last name, Awatona. Awatona. I'm not exactly sure how to say his last name, but people don't even know that this is the guy who developed Calendly, which is an app that I use in my own profession.
Mhm.
There's a black person came up with that app. That's very influential in the tech / business world. Bring somebody like that on to speak at your rally. Just offset it a little bit, but we'll never see that. We'll just continue to see these rappers and these minstrel shows. And I do personally find it embarrassing. Not because of the embarrassment in and of itself, because like I said, I'm over it, but I find it embarrassing because of my knowledge that it nevertheless remains effective.
1,000, bro. And yeah, so just some keywords, guys. Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, Boule. Do yourselves a favor. Just look up those things independently. Don't try to find them all in one. But look them up if you haven't really looked into that, and you'll see what Kamala Harris stands for. If you just look those things up. So have at it.
Yeah. Good luck to y'all out there, man. Above all else, just think for yourself. It is okay to think for yourself, even if people are going to hate on you for it. Just think for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Next up, we are going to talk about comments made by Fat Joe,
Oh,
who
boy.
believes that J. Cole tarnished his legacy by backing out of the Big Three confrontation,
No.
which ended up just being a Big Two confrontation of Drake and Kendrick Lamar, with a little bit of people like Rick Ross sprinkled on the side there. But it was mainly a face-off between Kendrick and Drake. And because J. Cole early on decided he wanted no parts of it, so he left. He bowed out. He showed respect for Kendrick, and he took his diss songs off of streaming platforms, and that album that he put out, or EP, whatever the hell you want to call it, might delete later. He took all this stuff down. He said, I ain't a part of this. I'm not on this. So I'm going to let them boys handle it because I'm not on that. Fat Joe does not approve of such a move, and he thinks that J. Cole tarnished his legacy as a result.
Damn.
So, interesting comments. We, of course, have been able to take advantage of the Drake Kendrick rap battle for content on the channel as well. So, this is no different. This says Fat Joe claims J. Cole's legacy is tarnished by Kendrick Lamar battle. J. Cole is in a weird place. The rapper wasn't defeated in combat the way Drake was. The fact that he chose to forfeit and seed ground to Kendrick Lamar, though, has been viewed by many as a fate worse than defeat. At least Drake stood on his convictions, right? The debate as to whether Cole made a smart or cowardly decision continues to rage on. Fat Joe recently weighed in on the legacy of the Dreamville star during a recent appearance on the Jay Shetty podcast. He gave J. Cole his flowers, but also noted that things will never quite be the same. He definitely got a stripe off, Fat Joe asserted. They took a stripe off that because in hip hop, when they call you out, you got to come out. The Terror Squad founder acknowledged that J. Cole's sense of self-preservation was smart in some ways, but noted that it came at a great cost. He probably saw that it could get real messy and real ugly, Fat Joe added. So he said, you know, this ain't me. I don't want no parts of it. Joe's reputation is ironclad when it comes to rap beef, so it's hard to argue with his stance. The rapper has gone at everybody from Tupac to Jay-Z to 50 Cent and never backed down. As far as he is concerned, backing down is not an option. Part of Fat Joe's reasoning is that beefing on record is not the same as beefing in real life. The rapper was perplexed by J. Cole's decision to throw in the towel, given that his battle with Lamar was strictly a lyrical one. I had one of the biggest, most dangerous beefs with 50 Cent, Joe relayed to Shetty, and I was sitting next to him at the game yesterday, having the best time in the world. We're brothers. Once again, the rapper took Cole to task for shying away from competition. When you're called out in hip hop, you got to respond, he asserted. I'm a big fan of J. Cole, but it started from that. Fat Joe isn't alone in his thinking. Kanye West absolutely laid into Cole on the Like That remix, throwing more shots at the Dreamville star than his supposed main target, Drake. The game was also frustrated by Cole's reticence to attack Kendrick Lamar. Hip-hop or rap or whatever y'all calling it these days was already watered down, the Compton MC tweeted. Then Cole apologized and turned this shit into Kool-Aid with no sugar. Here's hoping J. Cole can bounce back. We all agree to forget. We will all agree to forget Grippy. So Fat Joe is not a fan of J. Cole recusing himself from the situation, and he believes that he lost a stripe as a result, and that he is not viewed upon the same. You agree or disagree with what Fat Joe said?
Mainstream narrative, yes. Mainstream narrative, yes. He lost a stripe there. I can't take that away from him. But however, on the flip side, and we're talking about Mr. Fat Joe, that is. We're talking about Mr. I lied at 95% of my rhymes. So if this guy wants to talk about having stripes taken away, this guy lost 95% of his. So I think he put himself in a worse off position, because at that point, part of his beef talk was part of that 95%. Well, I guess that was the 5% that was real. Fat Joe needs to get himself out of here. But as the overall talking barbershop stuff, he's got a point, because people are going to and have been laying into J. Cole for apparently bowing out, in the sense that he was scared of the competition. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. There's speculations that people reached out to him to say, hey bro, this ain't your fight, just get out of there. But so who knows how that went. But my stance when we first talked about this was that I thought that J. Cole looked at this in a situation of, this is not why I'm in the rap game. I'm not out here to tear other people down like this. I'm out here to uplift and, make positive music. And I don't like where I'm going with this. I think that was what made him not do it. And to me, I thought that was commendable, in the sense that, and brave, in the sense that, hell, he already came out with it. But then there was also the stuff of, it came out on a CD called Might Delete Later. So I don't know what that was about, but apparently, it got deleted. So I don't know what his overall intent was, to be honest. So the part about it that I did reserve, that he felt like he was bigger than this, and that he doesn't want to partake in mudslinging. That was the part that I held to him. But the fact that it came out on the CD Might Delete Later, he deleted it later, amongst other things, it was just a weird situation. So hopefully one of these days J. Cole can, come out and speak on this and give his point of view of why he decided to do this. But until he comes out and says anything, people are going to keep running with this narrative that this guy ain't hip hop no more. And that's pretty crazy. So, but even though Mr. Fat Joe lied in 95% of his rhymes, which technically doesn't make him hip hop anymore, nobody really knows about that part. That got released, on the low, and nobody really knows about it. So everybody think he's still some pundit we should listen to. But I don't want to hear what Fat Joe has to say about certain things, and this is one of them. So what are your thoughts on Fat Joe? Calling out J. Cole and say, hey man, he lost some stripes and tarnished his legacy backing out of this beef. You agree with that?
Yeah, right message, wrong messenger.
Yeah.
I agree with you that J. Cole opting to not be in the beef situation was a personal decision that he made
I think
based
so.
on his personal principles.
I think
And
so.
it had very little to do with how he felt the outside world would perceive his participation or lack thereof.
I
I
agree.
think he did it. I think he did it because of a personal choice.
Mhm.
And so, because of that, me, I'm very consistent here. I champion people who live a principled existence. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're white, black. I don't care where you're from, who you are, what your color is, whether you're a man or woman. I don't give a damn who you are. If you are a person who lives a principled existence and you won't compromise those principles, I respect you.
Mhm.
And if he made that choice as a personal decision, and I can respect that because he has his own sets of codes and morals and values that he stands on, and he seemingly is unwilling to compromise them.
Mhm.
The only issue that I had with that personal decision is it confused me a little bit. And I
Mhm.
think I said this before. It confused me a little bit because J. Cole is a competition rapper.
Right.
So if you listen to a lot of his stuff, like Johnny P's Caddy with Benny the Butcher, or a lot of the songs from his last album, the Off Season, particularly the intro, and a lot of his guest features, a lot of his guest verses, J. Cole has a pretty sizable body of work, essentially talking about how he eats rappers alive.
Yes. Yes.
He talks a lot about how he will beat your favorite rapper,
Mhm.
about how all of these rappers out here are cornballs who lie all the time, and so you shouldn't listen to them because they be lying in their music. He's better than all of the rappers you like to listen to. Like, am I wrong? Like, J. Cole's rhetoric when it comes to his rap style entails a lot of that throughout the
Yeah.
course of his career. So my whole thing was, if you're gonna talk like that in your songs and when you're a guest feature, then when competition comes knocking, it seems a little strange that you don't want to embrace that competition
Yeah.
because you think it might get a little ugly. That was my whole dissension with him.
Mhm.
But outside of that, his decision to bow out because of personal moral codes of conduct, I can respect that. Even if I didn't fully understand it, because he's a competitive rapper. Like,
Mhm.
he's far more of a competitive lyrics to lyrics bars rapper than either of those guys, in my opinion, Drake or Kendrick. But Kendrick does it a lot too. Drake is the least of them, is my point. Um, but Kendrick will talk about rappers lying and having ghostwriters, and you know you sham bars like you got the bottom bunk of a two-man cell, and all of the stuff Kendrick be saying, and J. Cole does the same thing. So to me, they're both competitive rappers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the spirit of competitive rapping, it seems a little strange for you to say I don't want to compete. So that was my whole thing with J. Cole. Other than that, I was cool with his decision. I agree with you when it comes to Fat Joe. Bro, you've already been on CNN saying that you've lied in 95% of your songs. So for you to talk about how you've lied in 95% of your rhymes, but you are somehow someone who has credibility when it comes to speaking on rap beefs, like, to me, that is silly because 95%, if you can comfortably say you've lied in 95% of your music, then that tells me you've lied in 95% of your beef music too.
Yes.
So why should anybody listen to anything that you have to say?
Correct.
Which brings me to my ultimate point about a referendum on the music at large. And this is where I'm going to come at fans. Um, I have railed a lot about my displeasure with the way people just allow the agents in this industry to just get away with whatever they want and to feed your garbage on a silver platter. And y'all just accept this. So we will criticize J. Cole more for being honest than criticize somebody like Fat Joe for lying.
Yes.
Why? Because he didn't leave the beef. He stayed in it and embraced it, but he lied.
Yes.
I'm gonna take the person who was honest over the liar. Like give me the honest person over the liar.
Yeah.
If you've lied in 95% of your rhymes, that means 95% of the time that you were beefing, you were lying.
Yes.
So give me J. Cole, who was honest enough with who he is to say, I'm out of here. But this is the value of this music right now, and this is the sensibility of its current fan base. Y'all love this stuff so much, and you're so conditioned and brainwashed by this music so much that you will accept someone who is a liar over someone who is honest. This is yet another aspect as to how the quality of this music has precipitously deteriorated over the last 20 years or so. Because the fans who consume this stuff will accept liars and cheats over people who are honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It's like those stupid unwritten rules in baseball. Because baseball said so, I'm supposed to accept you drilling me with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have to accept that. Do not throw that ball at me 90 miles an hour. You're not going to hit me just because someone else on my team got hit with another pitch or whatever those stupid ass rules are. I don't give a damn. I don't have to abide by that if I don't want to. It's the same thing we got going on with this rap stuff. Give me the liar before you give me the honesty broker. Because you're supposed to be tough and embrace the competition, but the guy's a liar. Those aren't my words. He said that.
Correct.
He said I've lied in 95% of my music.
Yes.
So get out of here. I don't want to hear it. I'm in J. Cole's corner all day with this, and I can do that, albeit the fact that I criticized him for kind of double talking when it comes to him being a competitive rapper. I can accept that because at the end of the day, he was being honest with who he was. I'm not going to be a part of this because does not speak to who I am as an artist. But Fat Joe can miss me with his critiques of Fat Joe of J. Cole's decision. And the rest of y'all out there that love this rap stuff so much, you're a part of the problem because we refuse to hold these people accountable. And we just let them get away with murder, essentially. And we're just willing to ride along with it. But, I'm not here for it. And I'm going to continue to keep calling it out because it's BS. It's tomfoolery. And I'm Team J. Cole on this.
Yeah, man. And for Fat Joe, and I agree, bro. And for Fat Joe to sit there and say that, yeah, I had a beef with 50 Cent, as a badge of honor, right? And then he sits and says that, yeah, I was sitting courtside with him having the time of my life, which adds to the fact that he lied about his beef. So it wasn't a beef. It was something else. And when I was a young person, man, and I heard Biggie's song, what's beef? That has been my criteria for beef since I've heard that song. He said, man, what's beef? And he said, that's when you make your enemies starve your Jeep. Beef is when you roll no less than, 30 deep, whatever. Beef is when I see you guaranteed to be in ICU.
Yeah.
And so nothing about everything about Kendrick's beef with Drake says that these guys will never be friends. They will never be courtside sitting around laughing 10, 15 years later. This will go on forever. This is a real beef. So for Fat Joe to be partaking in a beef that didn't go anywhere, that he can sit around and talk to the guy later, this was no real bad blood here. So this, again, adds to the fact that Fat Joe was doing theatrics. And I don't even remember him beefing with 50 Cent. That's how unimpressive his beef tracks were. I didn't even know he was beefing with people outside of Terror Squad people. So for him to be sitting there, yeah, man, I was out here, that just speaks to his industry isms. And especially in that era, the late 90s, early 2000s, it was all kinds of industry stuff going on. And so I can't co-sign that. So he didn't have real beef. And the thing is with J. Cole, I think with J. Cole, where he crossed the line was he started pairing up with Drake. And that's where he crossed the line. And then he started doing industry stuff, which put him in friendly fire, a crossfire with Kendrick's agenda. I feel like Kendrick has been working on dethroning Drake. And for J. Cole to side with him, yeah, you gonna catch strays too. So because if you know what I know about Drake, you wouldn't be pairing up with that clown. So I think a lot of this was come to Jesus moment for J. Cole in a number of ways, where I think he had to really look at himself in the mirror and go, hey, did I sell myself out a little bit, teaming up with Drake just to make a few coins? I'm basically becoming what everybody else is, an industryite. Or it could be something like that where what is J. Cole really doing now? And I feel like he crossed the line by doing that and became an industry guy for a little bit. Me personally was disappointed when I saw he was parading around with Drake and giving these flows that's industry. I was like, well, he just gave up. He's just trying to make a hit. And the article said, hey, we'll all to agree to forget Grippy. But Grippy was a mess. And Grippy came out after all of this stuff, and he just tried to bury it under the rug, just trying to make himself a catchy song. He was featured on that. That wasn't his song. But it was still
J. Cole been collabing with Drake since his very first album. If you remember, he was on that Drake was on that song. Can I Hit It in the Morning? That was on J. Cole's very first album. So
Drake was on
kind of been, yeah.
Well, Drake was also on Good Kid, Mad City.
And I don't think that was real. That I always felt like that was an industry collaboration, an industry force collaboration.
I did too. And I felt the Drake one was too. So but that, to me, I just thought that it was a clear, all right, these are the three guys that everybody. So I felt like they were gonna just stay their lane and build their own whatever. I didn't have a problem with early collabs with Drake because he didn't become egregious until 2015, 14, 16. That's when he really started to just be a pariah. And so initial collabs, first albums, first this. I mean, I think they all went on tour with Drake too. So, at the early goings. So, but once it got set in stone of who each one of these people are, I just felt like J. Cole, being an upstanding person as I thought he was, wouldn't deal with Drake. So as I mentioned, man, if I were Kendrick and I saw this guy pairing up with this guy in 2019, 2020, 2021, whatever it was, fairly recently, I'd be like, nah, you can get it too, bro. Because apparently you down with this. So that's how I would have did it. So but again, I think J. Cole backing out of this to me showed that he's not an industry person at heart. And he's still a person who got caught up in industry politics. And he said no mas. And I respected that. But again, the streets are not going to live this down. he will go down in infamy for this. And when there's a documentary going on 10 years from now that's recapping all of this, he's going to get laughed at. It's going to be a part of this where it say, yeah, he was being a coward. And so legacy wise, industry wise, mainstream wise, he's going to feel that. But, but for people like us that, want to look at more of the nuanced situation, and we just think that, what, this guy just didn't want to be a mudslinger and he just wanted to just make music. I think that's commendable. And last thing I'll say is that being a competitive rapper is the essence of hip hop, if you will. So, when I tried to write rhymes back in the day or whatever, it was like, how can I rap and I'm not talking about, guns, drugs, and all this other stuff? Well, I'll just talk about how better at rapping than I am than you are. And I'll just use those bars because whenever I listen to old heads rapping back in the, when the form was still a form, that's all they were doing. Was I control the mic, I'm the best MC, I'm the this and this and that. So it's just like a lane to get into if you don't have no other lane. And I felt like J. Cole was doing that. But if you're doing that, like you mentioned, and somebody's coming at you and that's all you've been talking about, you can't say, well, everybody except that guy. And that just makes you look like a that makes you look crazy, man. So hey, man, it is what it is with this stuff. But overall, Fat Joe, he can go kick rocks, 95 of them. So he better get started.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about it'll go down in infamy with people sort of using this as a referendum on J. Cole's hip hop legacy, if you will.
Yeah.
I just want those same people who are going to do that to also not give credence to people who have publicly in media said that they lie in their music. Like, don't give me a liar as someone to whom we should listen to when it comes to stuff like this. And not saying that there's a whole lot of people out there who are like paying attention to what Fat Joe has to say. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that, but he has a particular platform to speak on it because there he is speaking on it again after he said that he's lied in 95% of his rhymes. And my thing is, Fat Joe to me is, yeah, there is Fat Joe, the individual, but to me, Fat Joe is also a facsimile for other rappers who lie all the time. So whether people realize it or not, they are affording many other rappers who frequently lie throughout their music the level of credibility that Fat Joe thinks that he has when it comes to an authority figure in the industry, especially when it comes to speaking on rap beefs. He might be one of the few who have outwardly said that he's lied as often as he has, but he is certainly not the only one. And so people need to recognize that a lot of these rappers that y'all be believing, and you want to clown J. Cole for the decision that he made. Meanwhile, a lot of the rappers that y'all be believing, they're liars too. So just remember that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to J. Cole, man, hiding in the whatever dungeon he's in right now, man. It's okay to come outside, bro.
J. Cole be trying to be a man of the people. He be out riding bikes, and I seen some video that he was trying to buy a Tesla, and he was just looking like a regular dude with a backpack at wherever you buy a Tesla from, trying to buy a Tesla. Somebody recorded a video, oh, J. Cole out here buying a Tesla. Like, J. Cole's kind of a regular guy,
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like I said, you can have issues with him not being in the beef if you want, but he was being honest, and I don't mind people who want to criticize that because I get it. I have my own criticisms, but I'm not going to criticize him in lieu of believing all of these other rappers who are worse than J. Cole because they're liars. So
100. Fat Joe, get out of here, bro.
For real, bro.
Hey, wrong messenger, bro. Wrong messenger.
Speaking of agents of chaos, we got Ice Spice, who's actually opening her mouth in an attempt to say anything of substance. Apparently, Ice Spice believes that we live in a misogynistic world, and that is why people like her have to do what they do in order to get opportunities in the entertainment industry is due to misogyny. So Ice Spice doing what she does has nothing really to do with her own personal moral compass, but rather because our society is misogynistic, and so that's why she does what she does. So don't let me speak for her. I'll let her speak for herself. This says Ice Spice admits she gets jealous of how easy men have it in a misogynistic world. Ice Spice says we live in a misogynistic world and discussed how breaking into the entertainment industry has given her a new perspective on how difficult it is to make it as a woman. Speaking with Rolling Stone, she argued that women have to be hot in order to land the necessary opportunities. The conversation began with her discussing her performance of her hit track Fat Butt at the BET Awards. I used to judge other artists' award show performances, she confessed. I'd be like, oh, that was awkward. Why the F would they do that? Why was she looking there? She added. When you're doing it yourself, you're like, okay, this is a lot. There are like 10 different cameras, there are cues, and everything is just so much. But it's fun though. At the end of the day, when it's over, it's fun. From there, Spice discussed the differences between genders in the music industry. We do live in a misogynistic world where it's like you have to be breathtakingly hot to get certain opportunities, she said. I was born as a woman and raised as a woman, so I only know this lifestyle. But I could just imagine how easy it is for guys. She added that she even gets jealous of the men on her team from time to time. I am very jealous when the men on my team get to sleep an extra 5 effing hours because they don't have glam, she remarked. Spice's interview with Rolling Stone comes after she dropped her debut studio album Y2K last month. Elsewhere in the interview, she discusses working with Taylor Swift, her feelings towards Maddie Healy, and more. So be on the lookout for blah 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 when it comes to Ice Spice. So Ice Spice, wants to set the record straight. She believes we live in a misogynistic world, and women have to do all of these other things in order to capitulate to get on. Men don't have to do nearly as much. What's your take on what she had to say? Do you buy any of that?
So let me get this straight. So she's just complaining that she's got to do glam and, she just got to do a whole bunch of stuff to just look prettier than she actually does. So she's just mad she got to do these extra steps. Is that what
that's not how I interpret it, but that is what she said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I mean, I don't know. I really don't know where she's coming from in the sense that, well, the only reason why, if she wants to say that this is a misogynistic world, that's the only reason why she's relevant. You wouldn't have money if it wasn't a misogynistic world. So what are you talking about?
I don't think she understands that.
Yeah. So that's the part about it. It's like, girl, what do you mean? So is the world misogynistic? Misogynist is such a strong word, man. But is it a man's world? Yeah, it's men are running things, at least on the surface. And so it does come across that way. But I really can't side with her and the fact that this is what makes her job difficult. She wouldn't even exist if men weren't OnlyFans subscribers. And so because we have these men out here that are propping her up and gassing her up in comment sections, and the bops in the world who idolize bopism, which is only a byproduct of this misogyny she's talking about. Again, every angle that she wants to look at this or slice it, the misogyny is getting her paid. So she wants to also turn around and say, well, it's fun. Yeah, I know you like this. So what are you really complaining about? So I think with her, I think she's just a confused person. Every time I see her, it just looks like they go, hey, stand over there and shake your ass. And he said, or whenever somebody asks you a question that you can't answer, just shake your ass. And she does that, and she does it. She does it well. In the sense that, oh snap, I'm in trouble. Let's twerk. And because I think Kai Cenat had her on the show, and he was like, hey, you know what I'm saying, bust a freestyle. She couldn't bust a freestyle. Even if it was a pre-written, don't ask her to rap on demand right now. She's going to stutter and stammer over everything. She's not a rapper. So she just turned around and started shaking her behind. And her money maker. And who's paying for a woman to shake her behind? Who's paying for a sexual object, nothing but these misogynistic men. So yes, there are men on set that are making good money being in the shadows and not having to do as much work. That's probably why she's jealous. That's probably the jealousy that she's talking about. They don't have to exploit themselves in order to get paid. So that's the part about it that she's saying that she's a little envious of. But again, man, when she's cashing these checks, she's crying in her Ferrari. So I don't really empathize with this at all. I feel like it's a half-baked take. I don't really think she knows what she's talking about, to be honest. But I got more to say. But what are your thoughts on Miss Ice Spice saying that this whole world's misogynistic and she's jealous of of men, I guess. What are your thoughts?
She read from the modern liberal. First of all, I don't think she's that smart.
Yeah.
So I think she believes everything she says because she's
Ice Spice.
like everyone is everybody is pre-programmed to believe that everything is the result of misogyny, the patriarchy, and racism. So it's a playbook, and it's an easy playbook to recite. So, her saying that is no different than if someone asked her a question and she were to say, I think we've come a long way in the world, but there's still a lot of racism in the world. It's an easy thing to say. It's the playbook. So her talking about how everything is misogynistic comes from the playbook. But I concur with what you said. Misogyny, if you are willing to subscribe to the notion that it is as rampant as it actually is the reason why she's rich, is the reason why she's on. Yeah. So when she talks about how women have to go the extra mile in order to make it in the entertainment industry because of misogyny, she also ought to understand that the only reason why she is even in the entertainment industry is due to misogyny.
Yes.
Because the way that she parades herself as an artist, in terms of her prostitution rap, not my words, those are the words of people like Nikki D, who look at her live performances and characterize them as prostitution rap. You can't make it in an industry where you can be a prostitution rapper if not for misogyny, because the same tenets of misogyny are the reason why people are willing to consume what you're doing. So you're actually benefiting, Ice Spice, from the misogyny that you claim is problematic. Yes. But then again, and I don't mean to belittle her. I don't think that she has the mental wherewithal to truly understand that. I think that she is on the surface and she is going to recite a typical playbook because that's all she knows. When in doubt, everything is always due to misogyny / the patriarchy or racism. So just default to blaming one of those three things because it's the easiest thing to do. So, it is what it is. But my whole thing about it is, if you truly have an issue with it, then don't be a conformist. Right. Be who you want to be.
Right.
Be who you want. And this is my thing with this. Cry me a river with this BS. These people are liars. And they really expect this. This goes deep for me. This is the level of intellect and mental capacity that these individuals maintain as an expectation for the people who listen to this music. They really do think that people are dumb enough to believe this stuff. So, like, the people who make this music and the agents who step in front of a microphone to perform this music really have such low expectations of the people who consume it that they think that they can say stuff like this and everybody's going to believe it. So for all y'all out here who love this music so much and idolize these artists so much, you need to keep that in mind when it comes to how much credibility you are willing to afford these agents, these individuals, because they really do expect you to believe this stuff that they peddle out here in these magazines and these interviews and these podcasts and on these TV shows. Like, they expect you to believe this stuff, yo. Like, number one, she's benefiting from the patriarchy that she claims to hate so much. Number two, be who you want to be. Like, if you really do have a problem with it, be your own artist. Grow your hair out, be who you want to be, make the kind of music you want to make. No one is stopping you from doing that.
Right.
But she's probably signed to some kind of slave contract, which
She is.
stipulates that she has to make this kind of music.
She is.
And she willfully signed up for this because she just wanted to get money and be popular.
She did.
So whose fault is that? That's misogyny's, that's misogyny's fault. Is that so? Because you signed this slavery contract that has you out here mindlessly twerking for the masses, that's
Yes.
misogyny's fault. Like, you could have signed another deal, Ice Spice, but you don't have a mind of your own because you're a conformist, and you allowed your handlers to advise you to sign yourself up for this madness. And now you're caught in this hamster wheel.
Yep.
And maybe at night, when, as you put it, she's crying in her Ferrari, she has a moment of atonement and she decides that she wants to give, interviews like this, where she talks about how we live in a misogynistic world. Well, who signed themselves up to be victimized by this misogyny? You could have done something different. This gives me Coi Leray vibes, where Coi Leray said, I'll be a better rapper or a lyricist, or not rap about my vagina all the time if I felt like the people wanted to hear that. The people do want to hear that. You're making that kind of music because you want to.
Correct.
Don't smoke. Come on, man. Stop thinking that everybody's an idiot who's going to believe this nonsense. And she's peddling nonsense. Yeah. Because she has full faith and credit in her belief that people are believing this. And unfortunately, there's going to be a sizable enough percentage of the people who do buy it. But by and large, people should not believe this. She is not a victim of anything. Misogyny does not have a boot beneath her, or rather over her. She is not being, held hostage. She's doing what she wants to do. She wants to get a whole bunch of followers on social media, get a whole bunch of likes and comments. She wants to be an influencer and get her endorsement deals. She wants to be on stage twerking it up. She wants to make her money so she can wear her big, blood diamond chains. She wants to do all of these things.
Yep.
Because her culture has impressed upon her that that's what freedom means. So she's going to do these things because to her, that's what self-actualization is. And misogyny is not keeping her from that. She is. She made that call. So she needs to get over it and stop crying me a river. Get out of here with this. These people really do amuse me. They really do. They amuse me wholeheartedly. And I just hope for the sake of the world that people do not listen to her when she says nonsense like this.
Well, I tell you, it has some type of feeling of the Kamala Harris thing that we were talking about earlier, in the sense that it's targeting women. They want women to download her stuff. So, her garbage album is out. I heard it's 10 tracks, 23 minutes each. And yeah, bro. And so her album's out, so she's trying to connect with women who agree that it's a misogynistic world. And so it's a buzzword. I don't think I ever hear her use the word misogynistic again. And I don't think she's ever used it before this. So I think this is just part of her PR launch, her getting out there and trying to galvanize the other women that are, sex workers, and try to get them to go, hey, yeah, this is a misogynistic world, ladies. I'm a victim of it too, And I think she's trying to garner some sympathy for this, but not from men. I think they're trying to get women aside for her, because she needs her own form of hotties or baddies or Barbies, because nobody's out here spicing it. So yeah, so she needs her people behind her. But I gotta tell you, I think this is one of the most obvious industry plants in history. I think she's going to go down top 5 next to Vanilla Ice and others, where basically the only reason why we even know of her is because of the labels pushing her. I'm sure she signed some ridiculous 360 deal where the record label is literally doing this with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all right, go out there, hang out with Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. Okay. And this is the first time meeting Taylor Swift, y'all. But hey, here she is hanging out with Taylor Swift. Hey, why don't you go to this performance over here and make sure you shake that ass of yours. And she's like, okay. That's Ice Spice. I take Ice Spice as very submissive. Okay, I'll do it. What do you want me to do? I'll do it. Real bottom B behavior. And so she's perfect for the industry. She's doing whatever they wanted. But the cool part about the bad the downward streams that we covered not too long ago, and the fact that her album isn't doing so good, is that people aren't buying it. And that's the part about this that I like, because this would have knocked people over the head in 2016, 2017. And she would have had her own form of baddies or Barbies if this came out 6 years earlier. But I think that people are a little bit wiser now, and they understand that she's just an act. So yeah, she's just saying anything at this point, grasping at straws. I didn't even know she had opinions.
She doesn't.
and that
She doesn't have opinions.
yeah, and
She doesn't have opinions. She that was a robotic answer. It's like I said, misogyny, racism, patriarchy, rinse
yeah,
and repeat.
yeah, because
that she doesn't have a mind.
even her explanation of it, in the sense that she's got to do 5 hours of glam and other guys on her team are sleeping, like, big whoop. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think Beyonce does? But I guess, again, it's a misogynistic industry, so she's got to look like that. Yeah, let's stop it. Yeah, let's stop it. And last thing I'll talk about is that, yes, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll say this for myself, the word misogyny is a wild word. I really don't get down with it, but the notions of patriarchy that people like to allude to, there is truth to that. And it is all over the place, and it is in every industry, and it is all this is happening. Yes, that is a thing. And I do think there needs to be more balance when it comes to fair, like real balance, like not just because men are doing it, women can do it, like actual counterbalancing stuff. I feel like the world does need more of that. So when people do bring up these points, there is a point to it, whenever they call it out. But much like how you said, like with the racism stuff, there's stuff to that. But, there's also a degree of, what role are you playing in this? And, or are you just defaulting to victimhood isms? And I think that with women, their racism is misogyny. So they use that word for whenever they're being done wrong or feel unjust. So that is their buzzword. And so there is truth to it. But again, this is like somebody who signed a deal to literally wear blackface as a black person, wear blackface and, watermelon, going crazy and stuff like that, and say, I live in a racist world, guys.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, well, you live in a racist world, but you sitting around here doing all this racist stuff. Actually, you're making it worse for future generations. So if you're against misogyny, as she proclaims to be, then you are actually an agent of it. And you are actually helping promote and perpetuate it. But it's fun, ladies.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't know what she said.
Boy,
That's my point of contention. Like, she doesn't even realize what she said. Like, she doesn't understand that her entire persona as a musical artist is the perpetuation of that misogyny that she claims to be a victim of.
Yes.
And so that's the problem that I have with people who make comments like that. It's not what she said, it's who said it. And the fact that I am 100% convinced that she has no idea what the hell she's talking about.
Bro,
she was able to default to a playbook of everything is about X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Because she can. Because why combat that? In the world today, if you criticize that, it means that you're on the side of the thing that everyone's fighting against. You don't want to be a bad guy, therefore you cannot criticize those comments.
Yes. And so, yeah, man, 100%, bro. We really need a swooping graphic that right message, wrong messenger. And yeah, this is another situation of wrong messenger, lady. Like you're literally out there. If there's a war against women, you are literally on the front lines of the opposing team destroying women. And so you can't sit here and cry foul. And then in the same breath say it's fun. Girl, you lost.
Yeah,
Hey, good luck.
yeah,
Good luck, Ice
yeah.
Spice.
Yeah,
With all of
I
this
don't
stuff.
understand. Yeah, these people really are pathological with the drinking of their Kool-Aid. It's insanity. It really is crazy, you know. But it is what it is. I think, to me, the main takeaway from this situation is accountability, number one. But like, stop listening to these people. stop stop listening to them. They don't make sense with what they say. And those comments on the surface will trigger somebody who truly does look at the world through that lens of everything is misogyny. So it'll be easy for them to latch on to it, like, yeah, go ahead, Ice Spice.
Right.
But these are moronic comments made, in my opinion, by a moron of a person who who doesn't understand her place in the world and how she contributes to the things that she claims to complain about.
Hey man, the spice rack is gonna come after you for saying that one, man. Is that what they call her people? The spice rack.
Hey, it's all good, man. We get more and more subs every week. I ain't tripping. I don't think I don't think the Spice Rack is watching any of our videos. And
Hey, Spice Rack, if y'all watching, man, hit like and subscribe, man. We do this every Tuesday. Spice Rack.
oh god. And here we go.
Oh boy.
Here we go. I don't really know what to make of this, so I guess we'll just get right into it.
Right.
Brittany Renner is online expressing that she is trying to learn the best ways to balance a new path in her life with her career as a celebrity endorser of products and branding. And, she's exclaiming that it's going to be a slow burn, but, we all got to be patient with her and so on and so forth. I really don't know what to make of this, but by the looks of this, she looks to be on a path of um, convergence. So we'll just go ahead and talk about this. It says Brittany Renner speaks out amid rumors she converted to Islam. Brittany Renner has shared another post on social media after wearing what appeared to be a black kaimar over the weekend. In an initial post, she discussed receiving signs from the universe and remarked, "It's almost as if we're waiting for this moment to feel ready. You're not going to feel ready for something you've never done. That's why you have to get pushed." In a video, she wrote in the caption, "Wardrobe update. I am going to enjoy every moment of this walk of mine," while explaining, "Out with the old, in with the new. I'm manifesting a new wardrobe. Inshallah. I have no idea how this is going to look. I have contractual obligations, clothes to wear, posts to do, bills that have to be paid." However, she says she's trying her best. Uh, when she shared the update on X, users in the replies had plenty of mixed reactions. "I'm honestly curious about how this will work out for you because the Muslims I know would not wife a woman with a past like yours," one user wrote. Another argued, "Changing lifestyles but can't adhere to the new lifestyle requirements. Even your profile photo isn't to your new lifestyle. Your arms are out and complain about it being hot, but the new lifestyle and religion don't care about that. If you're going to devote yourself to this lifestyle and then fully commit, if you're going to devote yourself to this lifestyle, then fully commit to it. Otherwise, this is just for attention." Others did come to her defense. One fan wrote back, "Give her a chance. It's not easy to take such steps as she has. Reach out to support. I suggest some sisters reach out to her and guide her and see where it goes." So here is the video in question of her talking about how she's not sure how this wardrobe change is going to conflict with her career in light of this new life that she is embarking on. Let me give it the full gravity that it deserves by going full screen.
First of all, I'm currently cleaning house, out with the old and with the new, manifesting a new wardrobe, inshallah. I have no idea how this is going to look. I have contractual obligations, clothes to wear, posts to do, bills that have to be paid, and you know, showing up the best I can, right? Because I know that it's not going to be perfect. I know that people may have a gripe. I mean, my arms are out, right? First of all, it's hot, and then I sweat like a puddle under my armpits. Not an excuse, but looking into Botox under my arms and finding clothes that are more aligned with where I'm headed, even if it's not
What?
to the book perfect. That's what this is all about for me. As I'm just gonna show up and give my best, and every day my best gets better.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't think that I understand this. But I'm going to go ahead and lean on you to enlighten me in case I miss something. Um, she's apparently converting to Islam, but she's looking into ways to augment her devotion because she gets hot a lot, and she's looking to
Boy.
Botox her arms.
What's
And
that?
based on the video, she's still going to be an influencer and wear her sexy outfits and her modeling stuff because of her contractual obligations, which I'm not Muslim myself, but I do believe that that conflicts with the tenets and that's a no-go. You can't really do that. So I'm confused. Maybe I'm missing something, but the floor is yours. Please enlighten me on what I'm missing here.
No, honestly, for face value, I think this will confuse anybody. I think this is if anybody's familiar with this woman's track record, yeah, this definitely comes from out of left field. She was going on a campaign of trying to make it seem like, she's reformed in the sense that she's not out here thoughting it up anymore, and she's a loyal woman and she'll hold down any man. She was doing that campaign last year, for the last couple years actually.
Yeah, after she became a single mother,
Correct.
that's when she decided to do
And
that.
and yes, let's not forget that. So I think that's run its course. So I think she's upping up the ante. She's pushing all her chips in the middle of the table with this, because this can go really left. But I don't think too many people are believing this. Even the people that are supporting her, I think that they don't even believe this. Some of even her eye, there's a lot in the eyes, guys, especially with these. What do the art of seduction call these women? Sirens. And so with these types of women, there's a lot going on in their eyes. And one thing that I picked up from her doing this, to me, it was coming off as more attention seeking. And hey, guys, I'm doing this now. But one thing that can be said about these, so I don't know what's going on here when it comes to these influencers, but I believe Black China gave herself to Christ. There was some other women that were living this lifestyle that gave their life to some type of religion. Muslim is the first. Islamic is the first for me to see, because that is literally a 180, man. Christianity, you could still backslide a little bit, some built-in backsliding with Christianity, but Islam, there's no built-in backsliding. Like, this is the one you cannot backslide on. So the one where she's out here talking like, exposing arm, Botox under the arm, all of this is haram. So she's out here violating already. So I'll sit back and I'll watch this from afar and see what she does with this. I have turned from being, I was never really disgusted with her. She was always funny to me. But this is just taking on a new level of humor. So we'll see where this campaign's going. I've seen other videos of her in the car saying certain things, Shallah, eventually she's going to be out here, Akbar, and all this Allah. It's coming, guys. And when she reached that level of blasphemy, we'll see what's going on here. But me personally, I'm not buying it. I think it's all a charade, more acts for more attention. I think this is PR stuff that these ex-scandalous women were doing. And I think this is good PR because money's drying up. So they have to create a new lane in order to get people to buy into them. So I think this is just her trying to reinvent herself for more capital. But we'll see where it lands at. But what are your thoughts on Miss Brittany Renner? Giving herself to Islam, apparently. You buying this?
Question. And I'm legitimately asking a question.
All right, we'll go for it.
Can you be a practitioner of Islam and still be a sex worker?
I would holler very no. as far as the letter of the law go, not even close.
Now, let me be clear. When I use the term sex worker, I'm not just referring.
what's
the word I'm looking for? I'm not just referring to women who actually give up the box for money. Mm-hmm. I'm referring to the sexual marketplace in its entirety. So in other words, I lump all of it into the same boat. So if you leverage your looks and your body for money and attention currency, which can later be leveraged for actual money, I put that into the sex working category, mm-hmm. because you're leveraging your sexuality and your sex appeal for money. Mm-hmm. To me, you're a sex worker if you do that. You don't mm-hmm. have to go all the way in terms of giving up the box in order to qualify as a sex worker. I think you're a sex worker if you're an Instagram model. If you're a stripper, you're a sex worker. If you're an Instagram model, you're a sex worker. If you do OnlyFans, but you're not giving up box on your OnlyFans, you just model and do poses and use toys, you're a sex worker. I don't care. You're all sex workers. So if you do any of these things, you're a sex worker. Up until this point throughout her career, in my opinion, based upon those parameters, and she's been a sex worker. Mm-hmm. But also, if you read her book, she was also an actual one as well, in my opinion, based upon her own. She wrote her book. I did not write that book. She wrote that book. Okay, she wrote it. I didn't write it. Don't come at me. She wrote that book. So that's what I'm asking the question. Is she attempting to bend some of this to try and create a new type of, faith-based practice where you can kind of dabble in both waters, where you can do this?
Not what it is.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
That ain't the religion to do it with.
I figured as much, but I figured I'd ask the question anyway, just to make sure that I wasn't inaccurate with how I interpreted that, because that was always my interpretation. Here's the thing. I don't buy any of it. And the reason why I don't buy any of it is because she posted about it. See, right. if this was something that you truly did, if you truly undergo a religious convergence, now don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't take anything away from a person who experiences their own bottom and they decide enough is enough. I'm going to undergo a change for the better, and I'm going to reorient my life and put it in a different direction. I don't take that away from anybody. If she experienced that moment of clarity for herself and she decided that she wants to undergo a particular change, good for her. Congratulations. But there's a certain level of inauthenticity to it when you post about it on social media. Because to me, if you were really about this life, then you would just fade away into obscurity.
Correct.
Adopt your new lifestyle.
Correct.
And go about living your life you don't have to make it a public spectacle for people to comment on. Right. You don't have to uphold yourself as this example to others in the world. You're not that important. She's not that important. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. This celebrity hero worship stuff is ridiculous. And the narcissism inherent in some of these people knows no bounds. There's no limit to it. If you really were on this stuff for real, you wouldn't post about it and make it a public spectacle. You would make your convergence, start living by that. And if people want to ask you about it, you can offer up whatever sage words of wisdom you'd like. But otherwise, this is your life now. There's no need to post about it on social media to your millions of followers because you feel the need to continue to be an influencer. That's weird. Mm-hmm. That's weird new human behavior.
It is.
And I'm sorry, but we can talk all the time about how interconnected the world is with TikTok and Instagram and all of this new stuff, and we have to sort of adapt to the way that the world is. But certain things are still the same. And when you make a religious convergence, it typically tends to come along with certain foundational principles that you're going to live your life by. And most of those people are not going to feel the need to still be an influencer while making this convergence. Like, you're just going to do it and be an example. You're going to personify the example instead of trying to tote this delicate line of being a simultaneous influencer / religious converter. And a lot of the people who do, because I may be ignorant to this, so because we see people who like weight loss, for example. People go on a weight loss journey, and so they kind of record their journey and take people along with them on their journey on social media, and so you're able to follow along with it. Stuff like that, I get it. I'm not exactly sure that I've seen very many examples of that when it comes to religious convergences. Islam, no less. Like, I've never seen that. So I just kind of feel like this is weird new human behavior where we're trying to invent a new aspect of human existence. Where, in this world of social anarchy, where we're constantly trying to deconstruct everything, now we're going to be a society where people can readily convert to Islam while recording it on social media to chart it for the world to see, because we just need to feed that beast of attention seeking. We need people to know what this journey is for us. I need for people to see what I'm doing. I'm more of a walk by faith, not by sight person myself. So this just doesn't resonate with my sensibilities. And therefore I can't rock with it. To me, it's just weird and cringe. But I don't know. Maybe other people will be cool with it and think that it's the greatest thing ever.
I think, and I agree with you, bro. But I think this is also, because once I saw this, I was like, what's going on here? I mean, this is where you went. So I'll try to just see what her latest videos have been, and she's just as unhinged as ever. Just scatterbrain. Nothing's changed, and she's conducting and carrying herself the same, just with hijabs on. And to me, this comes off as extremely spontaneous, extremely impromptu. She's just throwing over fabric over her. I don't think these are real ones. And I think she's just feeling like this now. Stack 5 is a Muslim too, by the way. So you'll see Stack 5 in his Muslim garb and walking around the streets of O Block, I guess. And still talking about all this street stuff, but then wants to turn around and say Allah and all this other stuff. And Muslim or Islam, that is a heck of a thing to convert to. Like I said, they don't play about their religion, if they really own that. And all the Muslim people that I knew that didn't just convert into it, like actual people of Islam, everybody has their ups and downs, and nobody's perfect. But I mean, they did pray that many times a day, though. And I had a job where I had a lot of people of the Islamic faith working there, so much so that they had to develop a prayer room so they can get it in, because they had to pray while on the clock. I don't see her stopping X amount of times per day and praying to the east. I don't see her doing this. And I think anytime we're going to see of this religious faith will only be of uploads of hers. And as she also mentioned, she already has baked in excuses. So this is honestly, it's like the same thing of getting into a relationship with somebody and y'all are setting boundaries and parameters. So the boundary and parameter in this context is the Islamic faith that ain't playing around. And so her BSing this situation and saying, okay, I'll convert, I'll do all this stuff, but I still got to wear these arms out. It's hot outside. What? I still got to get Botox on these arms. Botox for what? The only person that's going to see your arms is your husband. No, she's not taking it that far. So Yeah, man. So she's gonna keep doing these things. It's Islam this week. There'll be Buddhism next year. She's gonna just jump all over the board and say she's trying to find herself. So I think this is just stage one of the next grifting things that she plans on doing. But yeah, this comes off as nothing but grifty behavior, trying to get back in the algorithms and say, hey y'all, I'm doing something. So she could try to clean up her act all she wants. To me, this just comes off as more desperation and more Brittany Rennerisms. So hey man, I'm here for the laughs. She gives me a good laugh. I don't think anybody. Holy smokes. My bad, man. My apartment, bro. Sorry, guys. That was a sink. But yeah, man. So as far as her doing this stuff, man, I still see her doing more of these things in the future. This is just another one of her ploys. So and as I was saying, I find whatever she does is humorous. I don't think anybody takes her seriously anymore. So that's the cool part about this, is that nobody's like championing her and defending her so much. I think a lot of people don't take her seriously anymore, which is very cool. So best of luck to you, Miss Renner. But the Muslims don't play. I think she's trying to get that oil money now. She's probably trying to just convert and get her a real Habibi so he can break bread with her. That oil money. So hey, good luck, Brittany. We'll see what you do.
Yeah, I'm looking on her Instagram, and a lot of people are defending her detractors, right? So she has a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are like,
Cut her some slack.
how can she be doing this when if she's converting to Islam, how is she still posting stuff like this? And then there's a lot of people who are defending it, saying stop judging, and she's on God's path, and just because you wear a hijab doesn't mean that you're a perfect Muslim. Just like there's no such thing as a perfect Christian, and blah blah blah. So there's a lot of people who are defending her against the people who are criticizing her, which is to be expected. My whole thing with it is, why do we have to record everything? Like I just respect the person who's serious about something like this and makes the commitment and just says, this is a personal journey that I don't need to share with the world. Like, you're not like, she to me is not important enough that people care about her journey of religious convergence to follow it on social media. Like, she's just an Instagram model / social media personality. So if this is something that you're truly about, go ahead and do it. Adopt, embrace this new frontier in your life and get off Instagram. Like, I already was bombarded. Well, I wasn't personally, but you already bombard the world with your isms and your ideologies and your narratives and your posts without this. And so now you've made this convergence and you're still going to bombard the world with your social media activity. It's like people just really want to have their cake and eat it too. And it is what it is. I guess that's the world that we live in. But I respect the person who has this moment of light of enlightenment, and they want to atone for certain aspects of the life that they've lived in their past, and they just privately go about their business. I take those people a little more seriously than the people who say, oh, I'm going to do this, but I'm also still going to be a popular social media influencer. Like, to me, it's just weird, but it speaks to my belief that narcissism has become an acceptable form of behavior in today's society, where we no longer check this kind of stuff and say, maybe you want to do that stuff in private. We just say, give me more. Let me into your life and your house and your brain and your family. Just let me in. I want full access to everything that you are as a human. And I'm put off by it. To me, it's just odd. But, that's why I make videos on this channel and I don't engage in that kind of tomfoolery. But she can have it. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is that also in that video, if you guys want to take a look back at that again, she's also doing something with her overdressed thing to like kind of tighten it so you can see her breasts through the garb. So I'm not going to put it past her that she's going to try to be a sexy Muslim. So yeah, so look out for that. She's going to try to show you her shape and figure with all that stuff on. She's going to do that. And that's the part about this. If I was somebody of the faith, I wouldn't care for it. And I would feel like she's mocking and being blasphemed. But what is Brittany Renner going to do in any religious context? She's going to do that anywhere. So she picked Islam, and I think she's going to disgrace it as much as possible, but not on purpose. She's just going to be her with it. And so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, go ahead and rewind it and look at what how she was like tugging on her thing, just so you can see breasts and that. But I'm telling you right now, when I work with those Islamic women's at work, you couldn't see nothing. Now the only thing you could see is if, you know what I'm saying, she was caked up, and you can't hide that. You know what I'm saying? But anything else, bro, you really couldn't see nothing because they were hiding it all. So Brittany, hide it. You ain't that thick. Even though she's thick back there, she's not thick enough to stick out of like those garbs that they wear. I was talking about the ones that were like, you know what I'm saying, like the hefty women that you ain't got no choice but to see what's going on back there. But she's not hefty, so everything that she wears should cover her pretty decently. So if she's out here still showing curves and trying to be a sexy Muslim, she ain't changed. She's just out here pandering again. So good luck, Grifter Renner. We'll see what you do.
Yeah, that's a good name. Grifter Renner. I like that. It's you know, it's that's the thing. That's what's so interesting about being alive in 2024 is just the dichotomy of ideologies and how differently people see things, because you know, you got a lot of people who will defend it and say that we're crazy for believing or sharing these kinds of sentiments. And it is what it is. I just say, hey, if you're going to do it, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but there's been a lot of these people who are in the public eye who undergo, you know, life changes of this magnitude, and they just kind of do it without having to make a spectacle of it.
Right.
But I guess in this world today, you got to make a spectacle. I guess that's what society is telling me, I suppose.
Hey, good luck, Brittany.
Yeah, Grifter Renner. Oh. Now we got old school R&B legend John B, who is not here for his song being sampled 2 years ago by Gunna and Chloe Bailey. Full disclosure, JV wins, and I don't mean to refer to myself in the third person. I'm just trying to make it very clear. I have not listened to the song in question, the song that John B hates so much. But John B is not a fan of a sample of a very classic song by him from the 90s. They Don't Know. Very classic John B song. That might be his most famous single ever. But that song was sampled by Gunna and Chloe Bailey back in 2022 in a song that they called You and Me. And John B has shared that he absolutely hates it. But he doesn't wholeheartedly hate every time he is sampled, but he feels some type of way about bad samples. And he includes this song by Chloe Bailey and Gunna as a bad sampling of his classic song, They Don't Know. So this says John B absolutely hates the Gunna and Chloe song that samples him. John B is not an S-tier R&B singer, but he's got classic songs. So many classics, in fact, that he's become a popular source for samples. A little John B goes a long way in giving a song a retro 90s feel. Gunna and Chloe Bailey were going for this precise feel on their 2022 collab You and Me. Unfortunately, they didn't clear the sample of John B's They Don't Know that plays throughout the song. John B was not pleased when he found out, and he let it be known how much he hated the new song during a recent interview with Can We Talk R&B. The R&B singer went on the podcast shortly after the Gunna and Chloe Bailey single dropped. He did not mince words when asked what he thought of the sample. John B said he couldn't stand what the artist had done to his original composition. He dubbed their version of They Don't Know as ratchet, and he lamented that You and Me ever saw the light of day. My lane is my lane. I earned that, John B explained. Just like if you made a hit in your area, I'm not just going to come into your area and take your joint and make it mine and then not pay you. Damn, tell us how you really feel, John. So here is John B talking about this. So let's see here.
Gonna do it deep.
So Let's go full screen.
You
And here's John B talking about how much he hates that song.
I'll do a deep dive of They Don't Know.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
yeah.
They Don't Know. I'm aware. I know Tim Kelly or Tim and Bob was a part of that one as well, right?
Oh yeah, they did the track.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I
Produced the track.
play this song.
What an amazing
man.
track.
Come on, man.
To this day.
I play that song, and the guitar lick still has me in a chokehold.
The guitar lick
Today.
is okay. So you heard the new Robin Thicke song? It's,
his newest single. I have not.
Yeah, it's the They Don't Know guitar lick.
Come on.
I'm gonna just go ahead and say it right now on this podcast. Like, listen to it. It has a bang, ding, 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 bang, bang. At somewhere. Look, it may not be exactly the same thing.
It's a derivative.
Robin, it's in there. It goes bang, ding, 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 right? You know, bro. You know, because you love that song, don't you? All right, yeah, you do. I love your song too. Your songs.
I love that.
But it went bing, didn't it? It went bing, ding, ding.
Come on.
Let me talk my shit. No, but no, it does get sampled every year.
Sure.
You know, by someone. Last year was Gunna and Chloe Bailey.
That's right.
They put that Ratchet record out that I couldn't stand.
Oh man.
And I wish they never did.
Man.
And actually never got my rights to do that record either. So we gotta holler about that.
That's a business to take care of.
That's some business shit we gotta handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know what? It's all a compliment to what we did.
Sure.
That's Tim and Bob compliment. That's
No
me
doubt.
compliment. But at the same time, my lane is my lane and my area is my area. And I earned that.
No doubt.
Just like if you made a hit in your area and you know you do your song, whatever it is, I'm not gonna just come into your area, take your joint and make it mine, and then I'll pay you or whatever. So, you know, that being said,
right.
you know,
That's your
but I've been
creation.
very, very humble about my whole approach to this whole music industry thing.
Yeah.
Because if I wanted to be rah-rah and come out and say a lot of different things, I could be Cat Williams right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But I don't want to be thought of as a guy who's disenfranchised or sort of like, you know, complacent in any way.
Sure.
I'm very blessed.
Absolutely.
And I'm on top. I'm up.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And so
Lord have mercy.
All right, he's up. He's on top. Maybe he was on top in 1997, but the article goes on to say the criticisms didn't stop there. The singer accused Gunna of failing to clear the sample, which could result in legal action. So that's everything that you heard in that video clip. John also has some strong words for his blue-eyed successor, Justin Timberlake. During the podcast, the singer laid into Timberlake's latest single, No Angels. He was somehow even more brutal with JT than Gunna or Chloe Bailey. That new single is trash, he said plainly. I'm not feeling his music at all anymore. And the video is even more trash. So, and this is the worst part of this article. One of the few people John B has had nice words for, ironically, is everyone's favorite enemy in 2024, Drake. The Six Guys sampled John B on his 2011 opus Take Care, and the latter gave love in return. One of the most humble people I've met in the industry. He wrote on Facebook in 2012, it's nice to know the respect is mutual, big up Drake. Now, granted, 2012 was a different Drake than 2024 Drake, but be that as it may, he still said that. But yeah, so what do you make about John B blasting Gunna and Chloe Bailey's sampling of his song They Don't Know for their single in 2022 and his overall tone about how he feels about certain samples and how, you know, there might be legal action because he didn't clear the song and so on and so forth?
I mean, I hear his argument 100, man. You know, I can see where he's coming from on that. And, you know, shout out to John B, man. He was holding it down, bro. That song, bro, They Don't Know. Man, they played that at our sixth grade. When I went to elementary school, we had a sixth grade dance. And they played that at a sixth grade dance, bro. I was trying to get some dance floor action in sixth grade, bro. I was like, hey, come over here, girl. So it was the jam, bro. And whenever I hear it in passing or whatever, I don't skip it. I think it's a good song, man. I think it's a real chill vibes. And I think what John B was, I think he really embodied R&B at that time, and that song is a classic in my opinion. So so I respect him when it comes to him being an artist of the craft. With that being said, I had to hear this song after I saw this clip floating around online. I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let me listen to the song, see if there's some validity in this. So I pulled up the lyrics here. I'll just read the first two lines for you.
Okay.
And he says, ooh, ooh, ooh. Right.
Who are we talking? Wait, which one are we talking about? The song he don't like?
The one, the song he don't like, the one called You and Me.
Okay.
And so in there he says, I'll F you right. I will. I'll F you right. I will. That cat is tight, but I don't care. I'll eat it like 5-star meal. And whatever this means. And so this ties into the ratchetness that he was talking about. The rest of the song does this throughout, where it doesn't talk about love. It talks about infatuation, hitting it, and it's just me and you. Don't judge us or whatever. So it has nothing to do with the premise of the initial song. So I felt as though if it was a sample that was used from him, and he felt as though it was, honoring the song, that y'all didn't just take it and make your own thing of it. I feel like if they just honored the song, then he would have stayed in the shadows and not said a thing. Because like he mentioned, the song gets sampled every year. So, but this is the one that he had objection to. And I think it's due to the explicit lyrics and the fact that it really has nothing to do with the original. So yeah, I mean, I'm with him on that, but part of the music industry game, bro, is them taking these classics, bro, and bastardizing them. Bro, I remember coming up, bro, 94, 95, whatever, and I'm hearing songs from Biggie and whatever, and I'm like, I love it when they call me Big Pop. I'm all this stuff. And my dad said, hey, that's the Isley Brothers. Oh, hey, that's Curtis Mayfield. He just saying whoever the songs come from. I was like, Curtis Mayfield? I was like, nah, Dad, this is Puff Daddy and Biggie Smalls. It's like, nah, they took the song and they just, never mind. That was his thing. You're not gonna understand it. So I was like, bro, whatever. This stuff slap harder than whatever you're talking about anyway. This is me. And so so it was okay as I was growing up because I hadn't have a knowledge base. So, fast forward, and then I started seeing that they started making remakes of songs from like 99 and 2002, 2004 in some cases. Anything in the 2010s, to be honest. I was like, this hasn't even had enough time to age. You're supposed to pull stuff out like wine. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, this is Curtis Mayfield, circa 1970 something. He's like, oh yeah, you got a 1977 Curtis Mayfield, pour that over here, But this stuff that's only been aged for 5 weeks, this is no different than gas station alcohol. So yeah, it's low quality, low bar garbage. But when you're dealing with Gunna and Chloe Bailey, you're not dealing with premium artists here. You're going to get some gas station quality alcohol. And that's all they provided here. Nothing aged at all with this. They didn't put it in the incubator to ferment it harder. They just whipped it out and just threw it together like a mixtape song. And I think that was the part about it where he was like, hey, man, if y'all going to take my stuff, man, you know what I'm saying? Respect and honor it. And but again, when you're dealing with this industry, bro, they don't respect nada. So everything that we grew up in, loving and stuff like that, it's on the chopping blocks to get eradicated right now. and and just get bastardized by whatever industry, whether it's the music industry or the film industry. They're taking our old stuff and making it look shardy. So sorry, John B, but this is the wave. You're gonna get somebody else that's clearing your stuff just so they can shard all over it. But what are your thoughts, man, on John B airing out Gunna and Chloe? You think that was fair or not?
It was. This to me is like, I guess the direction that I go with this is knowing the importance of ownership. Because if unless I'm understanding this incorrectly, if John B owned the rights to that song, no one could sample it without his clearance. So in other words, if they say Chloe Bailey and Gunna put that song out and he owns the masters to that song, he owns the rights to it, he can issue a cease and desist and the song gets taken down or whatever, because it has to go through him, because he has to you have to be in compliance with the terms of his sampling. So either he's going to be like, no, you can't make the song, or he's going to be involved in payment or some sort of a royalty fee or something like that in order for you to be able to sample that. If they were able to make that song without having to go through that with him, it tells me he doesn't actually own the rights to that song, which is unfortunate. But definitely somebody fact check me on that. I'm fairly certain that he does not own the rights to that song, which is the sole reason why anyone would be able to sample it and put something out that he doesn't like willfully. Now I know he did say that he's going to seek legal action and so on and so forth, but the song is still out there. And something tells me that if he truly owned the rights to the song and he didn't clear this, you can cease and desist it. Because there was something was going on with that whole Drake Rick Ross situation, where one of the problems that Rick Ross had with French Montana, one of the problems that Rick Ross had with Drake is there was some collaboration that they did, but Drake issued a cease and desist, and so the song just went bye-bye. And then something similar happened with Drake when he tried to do a freestyle verse off that Tupac sample. And the Tupac estate issued a cease and desist, and the song got taken down. So I don't think John B owns the rights to that song, which is my central point, the importance of ownership. I remember back before Dave Chappelle owned the rights to Chappelle's show, Netflix, Comedy Central still owned it, and Chappelle was trying to buy it from them. And Netflix had Chappelle's show on Netflix. And whenever Dave Chappelle did a stand-up, he would take time during his set to tell the audience, do not stream any episode of Chappelle's show.
That's right.
Because he does not own the rights to it. So he is making no money off of the art that he created, because Comedy Central owns it. So any sort of royalty, licensing fee, any of those sorts of residuals, nothing was going to him. Everything was going to Comedy Central. And so what Chappelle was doing was saying, this is an outrage. That's my creation. So long as it is not owned by me, I am urging everybody who's willing to listen, if you have a Netflix account, don't ever stream any of my show. And eventually he was able to successfully buy back the rights to that show. So now he owns it. And he brokered his own deal with Netflix to put the show on Netflix. But instead of Comedy Central getting the money, now Chappelle gets the money. So the thing is, man, you people out here in these various industries who create things, don't sell yourself out to somebody who's willing to make you a millionaire instantly. Like, the road to doing it the way in which you retain all your rights to everything that you own, it might take you longer to come into the kind of money and success that you're looking for, but in the long run, it's going to be more worth it, because you want to retain as much ownership as possible over everything that you create. Otherwise, it's just going to be out there in the ether, and people can just do whatever they want, and they don't have to clear it by you. They don't have to run anything by you. They can just do whatever they want.
Yep.
And so many of these artists today, and it's not just with music, it's with any sort of IP, intellectual property, it's with anything in any other industry. When you create something, you're going to have these conglomerates that are going to say, hey, we like what you did there, let us buy it from you. And they're going to tantalize you with the allure of making you a millionaire instantly. But in 20 years, your creation is going to be worth billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you retain ownership of it and you make sure that no matter what happens, you have a stake in that, you can reap the benefits of those billions and not some corporate entity that you sold it to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the seminal message for everybody. And I'm pretty sure, like back in the day, back in the 90s, people
Yeah,
like
bro.
John B, they ain't have no idea.
No.
John B ain't know. Like, no one knows that in the future, somebody could just hit the button on Spotify and stream that song into perpetuity.
Yep.
And is John B getting the money for that? Probably not. It's probably going to the label that owns it.
Of course, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about, with more knowledge and more like acumen, now people understand these various concepts. But man, I'm glad that I was born when I was born. Because if I was a creator back in the 90s or in the late 80s, even the early 2000s, I would have been getting shitted on.
Oh yeah, dude.
And a lot of these artists got shitted on bad. Like, they sold out unknowingly. You know, they didn't know what was going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, John B is now sitting here, you know, crying wolf because he feels some type of way about his song being bastardized. And I get it, because if you don't like it, you don't like it. So I'm totally with him on that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you don't own it, you can't control what happens to it. So just make sure all artists, all creators, all people in the business sector, in the economic sector, wherever you might be making your money or earning your bones, just make sure that you retain the ownership to everything that you do, so that you just can't, it can't get railroaded at the end of the day.
Yeah, bro, I agree with that, man. But one thing about the industry, man, the music industry and having ownership, bro, that is like, not too many people got that.
Yeah.
And so I'll take your point, because, you know, do that if you can. But if you can't, like you said, have some type of stake in it that's larger than usual, if you can. Because those people do not play fair in that industry. And we just talked about Ice Spice, bro. I know she got some weird 360 deal where they're taking everything from her. So these new rappers still are signing 360s, and which are worse than the John B deals. So these new people, man, you know, they are still under the thumb of these labels. Yeah, man, the game hasn't changed. Those people have only got more sophisticated with it. So, but yeah, man, there's a thing out there, man, where the diddler, he's still paying Sting $5,000 a day.
Yeah.
For every breath I take.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you own a song and somebody ripped it off. And it's like, oh yeah, no, you can keep it up. I ain't gonna cease and desist that. Just give me 5 racks. Okay, that's all a day. Oh boy, hey man, that's a player move, bro. Sting is not playing, and he said that with a straight face when he was on Breakfast Club. He's like, no, he's paying me that.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Yeah. And you know, I did the math. I ain't got it on me right now, but I did the math at the time. It's a pretty penny, but if you expound it out for the year, that's a nice little paycheck that Sting's getting all the time. So so yeah, man, if you do have a piece of intellectual property, man, just making sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's, just to make sure that because you never know, it could be 6 years from now that something took off, but you didn't think it would, so you just paperwork's paperwork.
And that's the thing. That's what the big wigs depend on. The big wigs are depending on your impatience.
Yes.
And they're depending on you deciding that the short-term gain is worth you selling it out, and that you're willing to trade the long-term larger benefit, because they are going to make you an instant rich person now. Yes. But it's worth far more than that. But they're depending on your impatience and your short-sightedness. That's what they're relying on.
Yep. Or just flat out ignorance and desperation.
Yeah.
And so in John B case, I don't know which one it was, but as you mentioned, man, back in the 90s, bro, like there was a lot of people getting railroaded now, but man, there was a lot of people that was just getting nothing, dude. Like, I don't know how many times I done sat around on YouTube and watched, videos of old R&B stuff of, whatever group, TLC, Escape, Total, whatever little R&B thing that they going in there, and it's always some label shenanigan. Hell, I think there's something on Netflix or something right now talking about NSYNC, how NSYNC was getting railroaded. I said NSYNC wasn't getting money. There ain't no way. NSYNC wasn't getting money. So when you think about that this, if you see any artist because that was it. It was just the other day, I swear. And I'm sitting there looking at it, I was like, wait a second, hold on.
Yeah.
NSYNC, I would have thought that they just do that to the urban artists. They'll still pay the glorious boy bands their nice comings, but they didn't give those guys anything. Those guys were getting the short end of the stick for real. So it's like, man, I can't believe it. But again, this is the music industry. And so yeah, man, tread lightly when you're in those waters, man. But yeah, man, I agree with John B here, man. It, to me, when I heard the song, it was ratchet. And if I did come out with this song almost 20 or whatever years ago, and 27
years, 27 years ago.
27 years. So if it's 30 years, bro. Yep. And I put out that piece of work that I know is going to sit there as it's in the Hall of Fame of R&B. Like, honestly, bro, if there's like a 90s essentials R&B thing, that'll get played somewhere in the mix. So that's up there. So and he's got other songs in there too. So, for somebody out there that was holding it down back in those days, yeah, man, I would be crawling over in my grave too. But hey, man, it is what it is with the industry. So, what can you say?
Sadly, yeah. Ownership matters, man. Ownership is a big deal. For context, so Jerry Seinfeld, and just an example, in another, it's still in the entertainment industry, but just television and not music. But Seinfeld and Larry David together sort of retain ownership over Seinfeld. Now, mind you, Seinfeld has been canceled. Seinfeld has been off of television since 1998, I think. I think Seinfeld's last season was 97, 98. It's been off television since 1998. And it says, to this day, it's estimated that both Seinfeld and David receive residuals of between $40 million and $60 million each year. One of the earlier syndication deals circa 1998 was valued at $1.7 billion. Seinfeld's share was $255 million straight off the bat.
Damn.
So in addition to the 255 split that he received, it's estimated he gets between 40 and 60 mil for the syndication rights to that show every year. And that's into perpetuity. That's forever. That never ends. So not everything is Seinfeld, but that puts into perspective the importance of like not allowing people to swindle you out of something that you've created because they think that you're just going to be, lured in by, okay, we'll make you rich now, but then we're just going to become exponentially richer off of what you made into the future. So it's a thing, man. Like, this ownership stuff is real, bro. Like, don't let them buy it from you. Keep it. Hold on to it. And if you want to license your creation to corporations, but you still have the largest stake in it, do that. But don't just outright sell it or allow somebody to just take it from you without a fight, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get your art is going to get turned into ratchet rap. or whatever they call it. I don't know what you call it. I don't know.
Yeah, or they're just gonna take your skit or a movie and turn it into some Hollywood piece of crap. Take your book, make it a piece of crap. So yeah, man. So yeah, that goes with publishing houses and everything, man. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen a movie where people said the book is better. Now I don't know if the author was actually intimately involved, but I highly doubt it. I think it was just the director in Hollywood that said, no, we're just going to do this instead of doing what was in the book. So, it is what it is, man. Just make sure you get paid in the process, I guess. Just get your checks, man.
I guess, yeah. I'd rather just own it. Get that. Shouts out to John B, man. Good luck. And last but not least, we have a very strange story involving
Boy.
USA Gymnastics beef.
Mm.
Apparently, this woman here, her name is Michaela Skinner,
Mm.
is receiving death threats and getting abused online for comments that she made about the USA Gymnastics team in the past.
Mhm.
Apparently, this has been spurned on by the goddess, Simone Biles herself, who is like covertly trolling Miss Skinner's past comments. And in response, Skinner is saying, "Hey, Simone, can you tell your fans to get off my back because this is getting a little out of hand and your people are sort of being abusive online and it's affecting my family and my mental health and so on and so forth." So this is a weird story to me, but
It
this says Michaela Skinner makes plea to Simone Biles after getting death threats for comments. Former Team USA gymnast Michaela Skinner broke her silence on Tuesday amid an ongoing Olympic feud with ex-teammate Simone Biles. In an emotional video posted to her Instagram, Skinner asked Biles to tell her social media followers to help put a stop to the onslaught of hateful comments and death threats that Skinner and her family have received in the past week. So there's the quote there of what Michaela said in her Instagram post. Skinner added that she sent individual apologies to each member of the Team USA squad during the Olympics. She also said she would be taking a break from social media after the U.S. women's gymnastics squad won a gold medal in the team's finals at the Paris Games on July 30th. Biles celebrated the victory with a social media post that appeared to throw shade at Skinner. Biles captioned her post, "Lack of talent, lazy Olympic champions." Skinner had previously criticized Team USA's talent and work ethic. Shortly after Biles' post went viral, it was revealed that Skinner had blocked Biles on Instagram. Skinner competed with Biles at the Tokyo Games in 2021 and retired from gymnastics in August of that year. So yeah, I figured this would continue. So what did Michaela Skinner say about U.S. gymnastics team Simone Biles? Simone Biles and the U.S. women's gymnastics team took home gold in the all-around team final in the Paris Games on Tuesday. No one can take that away from them, and they let themselves gloat a little with pointed social media posts and celebration. Several of the social posts seemed to target Michaela Skinner, who competed with the U.S. team in the 2020 Summer Olympics as Biles' teammate. That team won a silver medal. After the win, Biles took to social media with an Instagram caption that referenced something Skinner said about the team. It seems to have resulted in Skinner blocking Biles on social media. At one point, Skinner said that the current Olympians don't have the work ethic of past teams. She later claimed her comments were taken out of context and deleted the YouTube video the comments were in. Besides Simone, I feel like the talent and the depth just wasn't like what it used to be. Just noticed, obviously a lot of girls don't work as hard. The girls just don't have the work ethic, Skinner said in her deleted video. She seemed to imply one of the culprits for the perceived lack of work ethic is the presence of the U.S. Center of Safe Sport because coaches are afraid to get on athletes for fear of punishment. Safe Sport has been in action since 2017 following the Larry Nassar assault trial. It exists to build a sport community where participants can work and learn together free of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse and misconduct. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit and play some of Miss Skinner's Instagram video here. I might not let the whole thing go because it is a little long, but
It is.
We will play at least some of it so you can get the gist of what she's talking about here.
Hey everyone, I sincerely hope that this topic wouldn't need to be revisited, but unfortunately things have really gotten out of hand lately, and it's one thing to disagree with me regarding something I have said or a point I was trying to make, but it's something else entirely when that turns into cyberbullying or even worse. Watching people cheer on the bullying, which has led to threats of physical harm to me, my husband, and our daughter, is disgusting. So please, at this point, I am just asking for it to just stop for the sake of my family, because enough is enough. So why I'm here is because about 4 weeks ago, I made a comment about work ethic and what seems to be taking place with the rising generation. To be totally clear, I take 100% responsibility for poorly articulating the point I was trying to make. And the last thing I wanted was to cause harm or offend our US Olympic team. I know these women are incredible, the very best of the best, and almost all of them are my former teammates who I have enjoyed very much cheering on the last few years. I posted a video apology on Instagram, and I followed up with a written apology, and I sent individual messages to each of the women on the team. Only Simone had responded, and she told me that she was proud of me. You guys can imagine my surprise last week when I was celebrating our team winning gold, just to see this brought up all over again by a caption on an Instagram post. If Simone truly believes that I called our team lazy and lacking talent, and if that's really how she feels, I am really heartbroken over it, but not just heartbroken because it isn't how I feel or even what I previously said, but heartbroken because Simone's latest post and others that followed it fueled another wave of hateful comments, DM.
All right, so that's enough. So you get the gist of it. I believe somewhere further down in this article, it kind of shows how Simone Biles was kind of using the success of the Olympic team this year as a way to troll this woman's past comments. And so that's what here we go here. So apparently Michaela Skinner blocked Simone Biles on one of these platforms. I don't know if it's Twitter or Instagram. And Simone Biles was tweeting about how she's been blocked. And there was another one that Simone Biles put out where she was like, basically trolling the comments that Skinner made about a poor work ethic and lack of talent. Basically Biles was like, so much for our team with no work ethic and talent because we just won the gold medal. And then she, tweeted about how she's been blocked. And I guess in response to that, Simone Biles' fan base has been coming at her on some, death threats and mean-spirited stuff online. I would have preferred it if this woman would have come with receipts as to that taking place. She didn't, but nonetheless, this situation is kind of weird and awkward in terms of how it's played out with, all of this cyberbullying and death threats and all of this kind of stuff going on, between these two individuals. So kind of a weird situation, but what do you make of what has taken place between, with the U.S. women's gymnastics team and how they won gold medal? And it looks like they're kind of using it as an opportunity to troll this woman for comments that she's made in the past.
Hey, you take it over, man. My sink going crazy. Go ahead.
All right. So for me, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, now to be fair, I don't follow women's gymnastics, so I can't speak to the history of it. I don't know what's happened in the past or whatever the case may be. But for me, on the surface, I feel like I understand her apologizing because that's just what people do nowadays. They just apologize for things that they otherwise shouldn't apologize for. But with me being ignorant towards women's gymnastics and not knowing the history of it, if she genuinely felt as though current iterations of the U.S. women's gymnastics team or women's gymnastics in general is lacking the work ethic of previous teams or is lacking the talent of previous teams, then that is her honest, objective opinion. I don't necessarily know that there's anything for her to apologize for. Now, kudos to the team for going out there and showing out and doing their thing in the games this year and winning those gold medals. Like good for them. But that doesn't negate the fact that those were her honest, objective opinions. And they did win silver medal when she last competed. If she feels as though they could have won gold medal, but they didn't because they were lacking a certain amount of work ethic or talent, I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that. And I just kind of feel like in retrospect, it looks as though, because I'm not trying to hate on Simone Biles. I think Simone Biles is cool. But it looks to me as though in retrospect, Simone Biles and others are using their current success as an opportunity to one up comments that she has made in the past when all she was doing was being honest. She felt as though the team was lacking a certain amount of work ethic and overall talent. So from that standpoint, if someone wants to go so far as to say that this chick is being bullied online, whether by Simone Biles or by her fan base, I must have missed this, but I guess Simone Biles has her own beehive or Barbs. I didn't know this, or Swifties. I guess we can add Simone Biles to the list of her zombie-like fan base that'll just ride for her under any and all circumstances. I didn't know that were the case. But if someone wants to go so far as to say that it is a bit heavy-handed in terms of the criticism, I can understand that, because get over it. If someone plays on a team with me and we fall short and that person says, I felt like our team lacked a certain amount of talent and work ethic, we lost, or we didn't perform up to the standard that we'd like to perform. So if that is the case, I'm not going to take that personally. But I guess I was cut from a different cloth where, when certain comments like that are made, you sort of take them in stride. You don't internalize them personally. And you say, I'm going to use this as fuel to do better with my own individual performance. And hopefully that propels the performance of the team construct to be all the more impressive. So based on the information that we have at hand, I would have to say that I kind of feel like this chick is getting a raw deal, the short end of the stick. But this is what happens in this social media age. People are going to use this as an opportunity to sort of, big up whatever they've been doing. But that doesn't take away from the fact that if she honestly and genuinely felt as though the team was lacking in work ethic and could have performed better, had that element of work ethic been present, I don't see anything wrong with her saying that.
Yeah, man, and that's fair. And by the way, bro, I don't know if can you hear the water running back right there?
Not really. Yeah, not really.
All right, cool, yeah. Cool. I had to turn the faucet on so it could stop. So I'm about to talk complex about that. But yeah, this is a pretty weird story. But I'm not surprised that of the potential of it getting this far, because yeah, Simone's got her own barbs out there, as you mentioned. And I'm not going to say I'm one of them, but because I'm not going to take it that far. But for whatever reason, man, I am team protect Simone Biles. I don't know why that is, but I'm an advocate for her, and I like her online trolling. I feel like it's tasteful. So I feel like she's a cool person, a hard-working person, and it shows in all of her performances. And that, I don't know, bro. I don't know if you did see the Olympic stuff or at least some highlights this year, but that Brazilian girl, Rebeca Andres or whatever her name is, man, she was going insane. That's the one girl that actually did beat Simone Biles this year. Honestly, that girl had to be perfect in order to beat Simone, who's always perfect. Mm-hmm. But I think they gave this girl the edge because nobody's even close to Simone. And while she was close to Simone, it was still very dynamic stuff. So it was a good showing for the Olympics this year for the gymnastics team. I was actually watching it. And I think this woman's initial criticism, this Skinner lady, I think her initial criticisms, I don't know if it was coming from a place of hate. I think I'm taking it from the way that Simone was answering it. I think she was taking it as a sneak diss for whatever reason. because these two are the same age. They're both 27, but 27 is old in gymnastic years. So what Simone was doing this year at the Olympics was something that's not really done often by Olympians in the gymnastic field. She was competing against 18, 19-year-olds. So because the younger you are, apparently the better you are at these things. So I don't know if Simone was taking this as shade, which is why she's gave those trolling comments, and I'm thinking she did take it as shade from a hater. And also, as you mentioned, the blocking from her, it was like, man, this girl, you know what I'm saying? This girl ain't trying to make amends.
She did see she did single out Simone though. Like, like from what I read, she said, aside from Simone, I felt like we didn't have the work ethic or talent. So to me, that sounds like she's saying Simone is good. Like, she did her thing, but outside of her, we weren't, what we should have been. So but I hear like Simone is probably not only sticking up for herself, but for the team as well, because she's on the team.
Correct.
Yeah. But but I guess, but I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No. And so, but that's what I think it is. So I think she took it as shade. And so for her to be, to take up for her teammates, because she's in these trainings and she doesn't think that they've taken things back, or there's no talent in the room, apparently. So for her to go there with it, Simone, that is, I thought it was tasteful. But once we're dealing with the crowd of people that's willing to defend Simone at all costs, because they are out there, bro. And I didn't notice that either until the situation with Bro, the NFL player. Still forgot Bro name, but the guy that's dating her.
No, they're married. That's
married. All right, there you go. So that guy. So I saw them come out the woodworks attacking him and the other things. So I was like, oh, this is real. But then I would hear other people shade Simone after that, or have an opinion on her lifestyle with him or anything like that. And I would just see the people come out from the internet defending Simone Biles. So this is one of the ones that I actually kind of agree with, but not with the death threats. So I am team Simone Biles. At this point, it's at all costs, but not to the extent of death threats. So if she's actually receiving those, which I'm sure she is, I don't know the volume of them, but I'm pretty sure somebody was dumb enough to do that. And so with that being said, that's no bueno. So, but yeah, this girl was this Skinner lady, she seemed really distraught in that message. But I think on top of the death threats, it's also this internet L she's taken, because most people have never even heard of her. And now their first opinion of this woman is she's a hater. And I think I'm more open-minded than to cast her as that. But I kind of took it as shade, man. Not towards Simone, but as you said, towards the team, and just be supportive. But I know as far as like NBA players and stuff like that there's this fraternity, there's this brotherhood where you can't critique people. So apparently there's the same thing going on in gymnastics, where you're just not allowed to have a take on people's either effort or talent level if you were a part of that, sorority for these ladies. Yeah, so I guess she crossed the line, So, but death threats are never cool though.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Simone's. I don't have a problem with Simone's trolling. I do have an issue with the rabid response from the internet troll world to her. If she is indeed getting threatened, that's ridiculous. Like, who cares? Is it that serious? That's weirdo behavior to me. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I don't have an issue with what Simone said, but I also don't like that unwritten rule of don't criticize. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. And that's just me personally. I feel like constructive criticism is always a good thing, even if it's from somebody who you used to be a teammate with. That's how I am. Like, and maybe that's because of that's how I am personally. I don't take it personally when people give me constructive feedback, and I hope that others don't take it personally when I give them constructive feedback.
Mm.
But maybe that's just that's sort of a reflection of one of the ways that I choose to live. So I get that, because if I played with somebody and we fell short and we weren't teammates anymore and they said that, I personally would not be, I would not take it personally. I would just be like, I get, because maybe on a certain level, I probably agree. Like, we didn't meet expectations and play to the best of our ability. So I just totally wouldn't hate it. And I would internalize it as fuel to improve. And once we did succeed, I would then just be like, whatever, we did it. I wouldn't troll it, because to me, I just kind of take it as constructive feedback. But I know these days, constructive feedback is something that people react to aggressively. And so I get that part. And so it is what it is. It's just, I don't think either one of these women are at fault. I think if she genuinely had that critique, I honestly don't see a problem with that. And if Simone is like, oh, and what, we won gold, what do you have to say now? Okay with that too. I just think it was constructive criticism. But the rabidness of the people on the internet who are taking things too far, that obviously is a concern.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is that yeah, man, I agree with that. Cyberbullying is not it's not a cool thing. But I love the fact that people are supporting Simone Biles. So I feel as though, as you mentioned, with the barbers and stuff like that, we only typically do this with recording artists. But the fact that they're doing this with an Olympian, I think that's kind of cool, in the sense that they actually love her so much. I love that. But, there is decorum that you must practice when you're out here being a fan and in fandom, much like myself. So if somebody got something slick to say online about her, I probably got something slick to say back to them, but never to the extent of, bodily harm. So that's the point where, everybody needs to draw the line. So, yeah, man, but, Simone's a classy woman. I'm sure that this will hit the airwaves. I saw this on everything today. So I'm sure Simone will say something, probably to try to alleviate and calm down. Or what do you call it? Rabbit? What do you call him?
Rabid, yeah, the rabid reaction to it. Yeah, it's a rabid fan base.
Yeah, so hopefully she can simmer them down.
Yes, yeah. People, don't be averse to constructive criticism. The girl didn't say nothing personal about nobody. She said, I felt like we lacked work ethic and didn't have the requisite talent to succeed at the highest level. And she was talking about when she was on the team herself. Like, she wasn't even really referencing the current team now. She was talking about when she was on the team before she retired. But stuff just kind of gets taken too far, in my opinion. Like, it's kind of wild, but such is life nowadays when it comes to the internet. It is what it is. But on that note, we are going to go ahead and close out tonight's stream. Another good one in the books. JV Wins, Dogon SS. Check me out on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. Check out Conscious Approach on Instagram at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If this is your first time seeing what we do here on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man, because we are like this each and every week. We certainly appreciate the support of everybody who has been tuning in and following along with us. Until next week, everybody, please think for yourselves, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Lord have mercy. Think for yourself. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, DraftKings, all right, at Dogon_SS. Also here on YouTube, all right. And as I say on every part, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it pure. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot, including my drippy ass faucet, goddammit. It's not gonna get me deterred. So until next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
That's right. Until the next stream, until the next video, JV Wins, Dogon SS, we are signing off. Appreciate your support. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace. Go Canes. Oh yeah, we coming this year, baby. Go Canes.